Bills meeting the Miami Dolphins. And hi, everybody. Ian Eagle along with Mark May. This is a rivalry that dates back all the way to 1966. But in recent years, Mark, the quarterback position has been such a constant. Marino versus Kelly. No more on the Buffalo side. Rob Johnson takes over the QB position. He's running this offense.
Well, he adds a new dimension to the Buffalo Bills offense, something that they hadn't had before. Mobility. He's the type of guy that can break, contain. He's almost like a Mark Brunell. He puts pressure on the defense. But along with Rob Johnson comes a new offense, a new offensive coordinator in Joe Pendry, and a power running attack led by that man, Antoine Smith. He's a power type of slashing running back in between the tackles, mean, tough guy. He'll bull over those little guys in the secondary.
Speaking of the running game, let's talk about Miami. Last week they did establish it in the victory over Indianapolis, but they may not have the same luxury today. Buffalo's so strong against the run. We may see more Marino, which means we'll see the NFL debut, the first start for Oronde Gadsden.
The pride of the Arena League, Oronde Gadsden, Rookie of the Year. 6 weeks ago, he was catching passes from Bob Guidry. Today, he'll be catching passes from future Hall of Famer and Dan Marino.
Buffalo has won the toss. Olindo Mare to kick it off. Kevin Williams, the deep man. He'll take it on a bounce and take it out of the end zone. Williams straight up the middle, across the 20-yard line, up to the 22. Dwight Hollier making the tackle on special teams. Rob Johnson making his third NFL start. His offensive line, Fina, Brown, Ziegler, Panos, and Ostrowski up front. Backs and receivers, Antoine Smith had an impressive rookie year. Now he is thrust into the #1 role full-time. Thurman Thomas is a backup. Andre Reed, a couple of touchdown receptions last week in the loss to San Diego. Injured player on the field to start play. And it's Sean Wooden, starting safety. We'll come back. Buffalo will have the football when we return to Pro Player Stadium, just underway. Bills and Dolphins.
Great job on that paper jam.
Like I handle that toner.
We humans have a funny thing about work. We actually like it. And while we get much more out of work than a paycheck, the paycheck feels pretty good too. That's why there's Provident Income Protection. If you're ever sick or hurt and can't work, the money keeps coming in, along with any help you need so you can get back to work. If you really want to call it that. Provident.
Look, they make olive oil. Take a picture here.
Okay, all right.
Buongiorno.
Oh, hi. How are you? Is this your business?
Yes.
Oh, we have our own business too.
Yes, we have 3 stores in Ohio.
Ohio. We sell in Ohio. And California, and Canada, and Argentina, and Australia, and Mexico.
They're on the internet. How can they afford it?
In the heart of the city.
Is it difficult to tell somebody they're dying?
They're the soul of medicine. LA Doctors premieres CBS September 21st.
A rather inauspicious start to this one. Miami hosting Buffalo. Sean Wooden, starting strong safety, remains on the field on his back in obvious pain. Wooden coming off a terrific effort last week in the victory over Indianapolis.
And he's the guy that they really can't lose on the defense. They really need the defensive backs to play well, particularly the strong safety. They come up and force the worm very well. But the thing about it is, when those cornerbacks come up and press the wide receivers on the outside, those safeties come up and they're very active in the passing game. He's a leader out there. Here's a guy that's a headhunter on running, and on the passing plays, he can cover a wide receiver, and there's not many safeties that can. So this is a major blow to the defense of the Miami Dolphins.
Rob Johnson awaits. Just making his third NFL start. Was forced out of the game last week in San Diego, suffering a concussion. First play of the third quarter. Now you see the chin strap this week compared to last week.
A little difference. He's got that extra protection with a little cushion on this week's chin strap. Had 15 stitches last week in his chin, and the doctors and the trainers at the time would not tell him how many stitches because they didn't want to tell him the severity of the wound.
Sean Wooden being carted off the field. It's the left leg.
And that's something as a player, it's a pride thing. You never wanted to be carted off the field. When I was injured with the Washington Redskins and blew my knee out, they said, we're going to send the cart out. I said, no way. I'll crawl off this field, but I don't want to leave the football field on a cart.
Doesn't look like Wooden has much of a choice. Calvin Jackson will start in his place at strong safety. And that's what you'll often see with special teams. You steal a player from your starting defensive unit, steal a player from your starting offensive unit. You have to just get by with the players on your roster. You can't have specific special teams players only. First play from scrimmage. A 1st and 10 for Buffalo at the 22. Two tight ends. Johnson handed off up the middle. Antoine Smith dragging a man, but a 2-yard gain as Darrell Gardner wrapped him up. The Miami defense. Strong effort last week at the RCA Dome. There were question marks whether or not Jason Taylor would be able to play in that game last week. He did. Tim Bowens, Darrell Gardner, the rest of that defensive line did a good job against Indy. 2nd and 8 from the 24. Handoff. This time it's Thurman Thomas scooting ahead as he crossed the 25-yard line ahead to the 28. Thomas did not play last week, suffering from a leg injury. Jimmy Johnson's defense always looks for big play guys on that defensive front. Had that small defense in Dallas, but they were quick, looking for the same kind of player in Miami. Dime package for this Miami defense. It's a 3rd and 5 from the 27 for Buffalo. Johnson will work out of the shotgun. Didn't see the ball coming. Johnson retreats all the way back to the 5. Forced to pick it up. Tried to do something with it, but could not. Forced out of bounds at the 14-yard line. And a 13-yard loss on the play.
And that's just communication between the offensive line, the center, Dusty Ziegler, and the quarterback, Rob Johnson. He's not even looking. Look at that. The ball goes right by him. This is not the way this offense wanted to start off today. Last week in San Diego, penalties. Quarterback was sacked. They turned the ball over in the first half. It was absolutely ugly talking to Joe Pendry, the offensive coordinator. They did not want to start off the same way last week as they did this week, but on that snap, they're in the same position, Ian.
Johnson admitted it. They did not get into a rhythm last week offensively as Moore boots it away. Buckley is the deep man. Backpedals all the way to the 33. And Buckley is met at the 42-yard line. A 51-yard punt. 7-yard return as Sam Coward made the stop on special teams. But good field position for Dan Marino on the Miami Dolphins offense. In front of Marino. And this is one characteristic of the Miami offense we've seen year after year. They just do not allow sacks. Webb, Dixon, Ruddy, Donnelly, and Brown. Backs and receivers, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 108 yards on the ground last week. And there's Oronde Gadsden making his first NFL start 6 weeks ago. He was playing in the Arena League. A 1st and 10. Line of scrimmage, the 43. We're just underway in the first quarter. Marino with 2 receivers. It's a pitch out. Abdul-Jabbar looking for an opening. Moves ahead to the 45-yard line. A modest gain on first down as Phil Hansen made the stop. Defensively for Buffalo, they are so happy to have Bruce Smith back in the lineup. Smith did not play last week because of the knee injury. Along with Teddy Washington, an imposing defensive line. 2nd and 8 from the 45. Marino. handoff for Abdul-Jabbar just did not have much room to work with. Bruce Smith among the players there to greet him.
And look at Big Bruce. I talked to Bruce just before the game. He was out here running and stretching and striding. He said, I'm going to give it a go today. I can't play with the leverage that I'm used to because that knee is really painful, but I'm going to give it a shot today. But on that play, he just stuffed the offensive tackle, Richmond Webb, had great leverage. But the key will be for Bruce Smith if he can go into the third and fourth quarter and sustain that energy, sustain that leverage, and sustain that push.
And we'll talk about the controversy that took place in the Buffalo area this week as we continue this afternoon. 3rd and 7 from the 46. Marino out of the shotgun. Throws it. Incomplete. He was looking to make the connection to O.J. McDuffie. Bruce Smith applying some pressure. 4th down, Miami.
And it's late pressure by Bruce Smith. Danny Marino back in the shotgun. And Bruce Smith's only sacked Danny Marino 7.5 times in his long NFL career. That's not that many times, playing him twice a year. But he says today he wants to give him a shot. He wants to get that 8th sack this afternoon.
Give you a frame of reference. He sacked Ken O'Brien 17.5 times in his career. Fair catch signal takes a bounce off the Wilms-Meyer punt. And into the end zone, a touchback. Buffalo will have it at the 20. 54-yard punt for Klaus Wilms-Meyer. No score, 11:13 to play in the first quarter from South Florida.
Let's say this is Castrol Syntec motor oil, and this is a harmful particle in your engine. Get the point? You see, Syntec's patented stabilizers seek out and neutralize harmful particles, protecting in ways other oils can't. Castrol Syntec, the active lubricant.
Let me tell you a story about the trucks that never sleep.
Got an early one, huh?
I better fill it up.
It's the tough new line of Ford F-Series, with over 50 different models to custom fit the job. That's more than anyone else, and they all come with power you can count on. They're like some trusty sidekick in an old Western, except this movie never ends.
See you tomorrow.
You can count on it.
Ford F-Series, the most powerful, most complete line of trucks ever built, Ford top.
They pioneered Ethernet, and for the first time, computers could easily communicate with each other. Today, 3Com is making global impact across the full breadth of networking, connecting more computers in more companies in more ways than anyone. And at home, 3Com technology is the connection to the whole wide world. Where do you find the leaders who are making a difference? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, Ford, and by the NASDAQ stock market.
A sloppy beginning to this one from Miami. No score, the Dolphins and the Bills. 11:13 remaining in the first quarter. Miami, the only team in the AFC East with a victory. Buffalo fell in San Diego, had a last-second field goal go off to the left from Steve Christie, 39-yarder. Johnson on a 1st and 10 from the 20. Puts it in the air out of the backfield. Sam Gash, the fullback, brought down by Terrell Buckley. A 3-yard gain on 1st down.
Sam Gash, coming out of the backfield, is a great receiver. He was in New England, but he's known as a blocker. But they were very surprised when they got him in Buffalo to find out what soft hands he has. He's a guy that can lead this team. He's a locker room guy. All the players around the offense rally around him. They were a young offensive team, the Buffalo Bills.
Gash now has 105 career catches. It's a pitch out. Antoine Smith finding a hole. He's got a 1st down and finally forced out of bounds just short of the 40-yard line. 14-yard pickup for Smith, who came up hobbling a bit.
And Antoine Smith, it's a great run, but all that run was just speed and getting to the corner and his strength of running through armed tacklers. You're not going to bring him down with an arm. You've got to hit him face up and bring him down. And that's one thing that Jimmy's probably going to tell this team on the sidelines. He's big, he's strong, he's an inside tackle runner, but has the speed to get to the outside and put pressure on the secondary.
And some pressure on the Miami defense this week, dealing with a big runner who is fast. Antoine Smith, read in motion. On a 1st and 10. Hand off to Smith. This time he's going up the middle. Gain of a couple on 1st down, and I think that's really the key with Smith. You can send him to the outside, but he's big enough to take a plunge right up the middle.
Absolutely right, Ian. What he does is he puts pressure on those tackles because they've got to respect him because he can pound it inside, but he's got enough speed to get to the corner. He's the perfect back for a one-back system. With John Riggins with the Redskins, he was like that. You could take him inside, he'll pound you, but he's got enough speed to get to the outside and go the distance.
2 tight ends for Buffalo now as Jay Reamersma checks into the game. He's the motion man. Johnson on a 2nd and 7. Flags go down before the play even got going. Looked like illegal procedure, the early call.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 79, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Reuben Brown, the 2-time Pro Bowl selection. And the first penalty of the afternoon.
Reuben Brown to the right of the screen, right there, moved before the ball snap. You have to concentrate. This offense right now seems a little nervous. The bad snap by the center. Offensive linemen aren't concentrating on the snap count. Basic fundamentals, just concentrate, guys.
Make it a 2nd and 12. Reed in motion. Johnson has time. Quick little slant goes across the 40-yard line. Eric Moulds, the 3rd-year wideout, making the catch. Patrick Surtain in on the coverage. Moulds, his 1st year as a starter. Explosive in the open field, but still has something to prove at this level.
They like what he's done in the offseason. He stayed around in the offseason, lifted weights, ran with the team, learned the offense. Now they feel he's coming into his own, and he's starting for the Buffalo Bills. He just has to raise it to the next level where he can be a premier wide receiver in the NFL.
3rd and 6 for the Bills. From their own 43. Flags go down. Looks like the same call.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 79, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Walt Coleman, our referee.
And it's all concentration. In this situation, you cannot move. You have to stay until that ball is snapped. Concentrate. Right there. Penalty. Offensive lineman, you don't move. You know the cadence. The defense doesn't know the cadence, so there's no reason to be offsides. There's no reason to move.
Lorenzo Bromell was the defensive player that began to charge. He's making his NFL debut, a rookie. Johnson on a 3rd and 11, scrambling. Rob Johnson forced to slide down. And the Bills forced a punt. Jason Taylor and Calvin Jackson were involved in the chase.
Jason Taylor's their speed rusher. He's the guy that they count on to get to the quarterback and put pressure on quarterbacks. Last week, he had a knee injury. They didn't think he could go, possibly just 3rd and long. He played the entire game. This week, he's healthier this week. He says he's going every snap. Loves going against John Fina, the left tackle.
Charles Jordan is injured with a groin. So Terrell Buckley takes his place as the punt returner. Retreats back to the 6. Buckley. Gang tackled at the 30-yard line. Derek Holmes involved for Buffalo. 55-yard punt, a 22-yard return. 7:41 left in the first. No score, Bills and Dolphins.
Adamstown, Pennsylvania, a true story. At a flea market, a man bought a frame for $4. When he brought it home, he made a $2 million discovery, an original copy of the Declaration of Independence. When it comes to retirement, you can depend on luck, or you can depend on us, Sun America. Ask about our personal retirement portfolios, and don't leave your future to chance. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
I always tell my clients, start with a joke.
And the squirrel said, I don't even like nuts.
See, it's about comedy, not content. You know, people think the Kinkos will help them stand out because they can do anything in color. Give them the full color polish. Whoopee. Color's not funny. Look, you are creating an indelible image in your prospect's mind.
Kinkos, great news for small business, bad news for Maury.
Lemmings. That's all they are. Lemmings.
The other day, Karen had to hurry to a surprise birthday party.
Honey, the doctor's on her way. Almost there.
So Karen didn't need any surprises from her car.
Just breathe. We need you to breathe Breathe easy.
Ford Taurus has millions of real-life miles behind it, and a reliable door-tech engine in it.
The doctor's here. I hear someone's in a hurry.
And I know 2 people. Make that 3 people. And we're sure glad that she bought this car. Ford Taurus. It's built to last.
Attention Seinfeld fans, Jerry's coming to CBS.
So who you expecting?
Jerry Stiller, that is.
I'm the Jerry now!
The King of Queens premieres Monday, September 21st.
The knees aren't what they used to be, but Bruce Smith is still one of the most dominant defensive players in NFL history. Last week, forced to sit out of the game because of a knee injury, had surgery during the offseason, and then a lot of controversy in the Buffalo area. He felt the story was blown out of proportion. Some felt that Smith sat out because he's the 3rd highest paid player on the Bills roster behind Rob Johnson and Ted Washington. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line for Miami. Second offensive series. Marino puts it in the air, and McDuffie couldn't haul it in. Smith says, and he told us yesterday, he's got no problem with being the 3rd highest player as we take a look at McDuffie on the pass route.
Right there, just thrown a little bit behind him. Needs to cradle that in, but going back to Bruce Smith, Ryan, here's a guy that's played 14 years, 4 Super Bowls, Pro Bowls. You never question his heart. He would not leave the field to play unless he had to. And an injury barely would keep him out of the game, but if it's better if he can't play, he's not going to go out and perform at his expectation or his level.
2nd and 10 from the 30. Marino on a handoff. Abdul-Jabbar trying to get to the outside. Gabe Northern made the initial contact to bring him down. Now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Jim Nantz in New York.
All right, Ian. Bill Parcells signed punter Brian Hansen yesterday. His first kick travels 46 yards into the arms of Jermaine Lewis of the Ravens. And what a magnificent piece of running. 69 yards for the touchdown, and the Ravens strike first against the Jets. Let's go back down to Miami. Back to Ian and Mark.
Jermaine Lewis has just killed the Jets in his short time spent in the NFL. He's done it again. 3rd and 12 for the Dolphins from the 28. And a penalty.
It's contagious. Everybody's moving on the line of scrimmage. First Ruben Brown and now James Brown.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 76. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
Maybe it's something to do with the last name. Ruben Brown for the Buffalo Bills. James Brown for the right tackle right here. Maybe it's the last names. These guys have to concentrate. Right there. Don't move until the ball snapped. Come on, guys, get with it.
Brown and Brown, no relation. Let's get that across.
But I've been in that situation before. You're concentrating on the defense. You're concentrating on movement. You're concentrating on the snap count. Whoops, I forgot the snap count.
You know, I read your bio. You were in that situation a lot, I understand. 3rd and 17 from the 23. Both of these teams moving in the wrong direction. Marino steps up in the pocket, dumps it off. But short of a 1st down, Ed Perry. Henry Jones got to him before the marker, a 13-yard gain, and the Dolphins will punt.
And Danny Marino is over there laughing with the guys on the sidelines, gets good protection. This is what they want to do with Danny Marino. Let him step up in the pocket and slide. He's not going to run. He'll step up and slide. He completes the pass out to the flat, short of the 1st down, but that's what Danny Marino's so good at, avoiding the rush, not getting stacked, stepping up in the pocket and getting rid of the ball.
The punt from Wilmsmeyer. Williams is deep. Takes a bounce at the 29 and out of bounds. Not much action thus far. We'll return to Miami. No score. Bills and Dolphins. Stay with us.
Every man has a mountain to climb.
What part of Russia is he from, anyway?
Krebs, what are you doing shooting?
Krebs, you're here to rebound. Just stay out of the way.
Krebs! Yo, coach, you gotta get this Krebs guy out of here. Krebs. K-R-E-B-S. I know how to spell. I'm from here. Man, you are terrible, terrible.
You want to get somewhere, then work it, then work it.
What mountain did you climb today? What beer was there at the top?
Buy you beer. Okay. I have Coors Light. That's C-O-O-R-S.
Coors Light. Frost brewed. Rocky Mountain cold.
Steve's band had its first big break last night, so they packed up the new four-door Ford Ranger and headed out of town.
This can't be right. Trust me, it's gonna be great.
Only to find when they hit the stage, something was a little out of place. Them.
It seems the only thing tougher than Steve's Ranger was last night's crowd. Ford Ranger, built Ford tough.
Cleveland, 87. What happened will be forever remembered as the drive.
Earl, try this.
I'm afraid of canaries.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Snickers and by Gatorade Thirst Quencher.
Returning from Miami, Bruce Smith having that right knee worked on as the Bills offense takes the field. A 1st and 10 for Rob Johnson and company at the 28. Johnson, a motion man. Second man through, Antoine Smith barreling ahead. He's still on his feet and caught by the shoelaces as he got across the 40-yard line. Sam Madison will give him credit for the tackle.
Well, that's a great block by the fullback, Sam Gash. Look at him lead right there on Zach Thomas. Tremendous block. Antoine Smith just fouls his block and bulls over Sam Madison. Stretches out for extra yardage, but that play was all the fullback, Sam Gash, getting Zach Thomas moved, stalemating him, and getting a good push on him.
12-yard pickup, first down Buffalo. It's Smith again, but this time nowhere to run. Derek Rogers and Robert Jones involved. Log on to www.nfl.com and check out this week's player spotlight on Jaguars Pro Bowl receiver Jimmy Smith. Plus, get stat leaders and a wrap-up of Week 2 on NFL.com. Wade Phillips in his first year as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, replacing a legend in Buffalo, Marv Levy. Phillips, though, does have head coaching experience, a couple of years in Denver. 2nd and 11. Nickel situation. Brian Walker in the game for Miami. This is Thurman Thomas getting back to the original line of scrimmage, the 40-yard line, but a gain of just 1 as Kenny Mixon and Darrell Gardner combined on the stop.
And going back to that play, Nixon and Gardner made the tackle, but Jason Taylor stuffed John Fina, pushed him into the backfield, didn't allow the running back to go forward. He had to go east and west, and when you go east and west on the Miami defense, with that team speed, they will run you down.
Not many players left from the AFC Championship years for the Bills. Thurman Thomas, of course, one of them, but in a completely different role. 3 wide receivers for Johnson to work with on a 3rd and 10. Johnson flushed out of the pocket. Johnson, couple of pumps, slips down, and a sack. Huge loss on the play. Lorenzo Bromell, the rookie. Shane Burton was there as well. 13-yard loss, as the Bills are brought all the way back.
And tack this up to hustle. Watch the guys run after Rob Johnson. He's got great feet. He can break the huddle, put pressure on defenses, but the defense was taught all week long. They were overcoached. Whenever he runs, track him down. Don't give him a chance. Don't give him a second go. Make sure you put pressure on him.
Another punt from Moore. Buckley lets it bounce. Scoops it up at the 24. Little shake and bake move. It doesn't work. Brought down at the 25, a 1-yard return. 47-yard punt for Moore. Marlo Perry, the tackle. No score. Buffalo and Miami, we're still in the first.
Is it pain? Is it pleasure? Gatorade, is it in you?
They are men on a mission.
Boom!
You got it. We ain't going nowhere till you move this sled today.
To train their electric football counterparts to be MVP.
What was that?
In the Snickers Shock Zone game.
You got it? Yeah, that's good. You want to be MVP, baby? Oh, shake it off. Shake it off.
What is with this? With the circle. I don't get the circle. Are you listening to me?
Collect Snickers wrappers and watch TV September 20th. If you've got the Shock Zone MVP, you've got $2 million.
MVP.
I smell MVP. Smell that?
Let me tell you a little love story. Happened at this wedding. Groom's buddies all sneak out and do the usual number on the groom's car, right? There it was, the most perfect black Ford Mustang known to man. So right when Mr. Shaving Cream's about to pull the trigger...
I can't do it, man. What? Just can't do it.
I mean, it's a Mustang. It'd be like the facing a national monument or something. Ford Mustang, built to last.
The final showdown. Mark Philippoussis meets the defending U.S. Open champion, Patrick Rafter. The men's final after football on CBS.
Bruce Smith not 100%. Now Antoine Smith being looked at. Take a look at this carry.
He gets rolled up on the replay. His ankle gets caught in the bottom of the pile. Right there. Look at that. That's why he's on the sidelines getting retaped.
Two tight ends as Pritchett goes in motion. Marino on a 1st and 10 from the 25. All kinds of time knocked up in the air. And Miami very fortunate that it was not picked off. McDuffie, the intended receiver, Ken Irvin with the coverage.
When Danny needs a big play, he's going to go to O.J. McDuffie, and Ken Irvin knows that. He's going to be right on his backside. Great defensive coverage. Watch the hand placement as he reached over, tapped the ball. You can't get better defensive coverage than that one-on-one in the open field.
Marino's been throwing to McDuffie on a few occasions, but unable to make that connection. We'll see if he gets Oronde Gadsden involved. On a 2nd and 10 from the 25. On the give, Abdul-Jabbar, the counter. He's got some room as he turns the corner. Abdul-Jabbar down the sideline. Brought down from behind into Buffalo territory. Kurt Schultz tracked him down. 40-yard gain for Abdul-Jabbar.
That play is great vision and cutback ability. That play was designed to go to his right, but he saw there's nothing over there.
Holding on the offense, number 89, 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
It's Ed Perry, the tight end, called for the holding. They'll bring it all the way back.
But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar will take it here, bend it all the way back. Great cutback ability, but sometimes when you get big runs, somebody has the hold, and the Miami Dolphins were called for holding. But plays like this, you love to see him out of your tailback. Gives him that extra push going into the game, and he's a guy that's a great student of the game. He's like our studio host, Marcus Allen, our studio analyst. He studies films, knows exactly where the defense is going to be, knows where the offensive blocking is going to be. A very intelligent player.
40 yards for naught because of the penalty on Perry. 3 wide receivers on a 2nd and 20. It'll dump off. And Lamar Thomas moving ahead. Well, they have a long ways to go if they're to make up for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar run that was called back. Thomas with his first catch. Sam Rogers the stop. It'll be 3rd and 7.
Talking to Jimmy Johnson, the thing that kills a team offensively, the first thing are turnovers. The second thing are penalties. And when you have penalties like that that really negate a big play, those are the things he's going to emphasize to his team at halftime and on the sidelines. Look at this. If you don't have a penalty, we're in position to score and you cost the team.
Let's make it 3rd and 13. After the pass play, Marino steps forward. Quickly brought down as Kurt Schultz came up to meet John Avery. It's incomplete. And guess what, Mark? Another punt.
Well, it's a slugfest, Ian. It's one of these deals where these two teams get together and nothing spectacular happens. It's always a slugfest. It's a war. It's a rivalry. Even though some of the names and faces have changed, it's still the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. And look at Danny. He said he missed a few things last week. He's got that same feeling this week. He needs to hit some of those plays.
No first downs for Miami as Williams takes it at his own 35. Tried to cut it back, could not. Gained about 4 on the return, following the 44-yard punt from Wilmsmeyer. Bernie Parmalee, the special teams tackle. And the Bills will have it at their own 38. Well, gas up the T-Bird and pop in the 8-track, because the coolest private eye on the strip is back. Dennis Farina is Buddy Farrow. Premieres Friday, September 25th on CBS.
Nothing at all. My man Dennis Farina loved him. Get shorty.
You've been raving about it. 1st and 10 for the Bills. Thurman Thomas in the game for Smith. Johnson throwing to the sideline, and it's broken up by Buckley. Andre Reed, the intended receiver, a flag down.
These cornerbacks are very physical close to the line, but you can't touch them after a 5-yard area. Here's the bump. That's a little push-off between both of them. Hey, that's fighting for the football.
27. First down.
Another penalty working against Miami. Buckley had 2 interceptions last week against Peyton Manning. 1 that came back for a touchdown, sealed it for the Dolphins. A minute 37 left. We're in the first. 1st and 10 from the 45. Johnson on a handoff. Thurman Thomas spinning away from one tackler as he got across the 45-yard line. Zach Thomas came firing in to make the stop along with Jason Taylor and Derek Rogers.
Both of these teams are trying to make their hay inside the tackles, and both of these run defenses are very good. Last week, Miami only gave up 64 yards rushing, and Buffalo only gave up 67 yards rushing. I think the way to attack this defense is outside the tackles. Get John Avery in there for Miami to use his speed, and get Antoine Smith the ball on the outside of the perimeter.
A minute left in the first. 2nd and 7. Thomas again trying to force his way around the tackle to no avail. Taylor and Thomas. Just listen for those 2 names all afternoon long. It'll be 3rd and 7 for Buffalo.
Robert Jones lost his helmet on that play. Thurman Thomas, 4 rushes for 7 yards. They need Antoine Smith in the game. They designed Thurman Thomas to be the 3rd down back, and now he's been thrust in the 1st and 2nd down position by an injury to Antoine Smith.
Johnson works out of the shotgun on a 3rd and 7. Johnson in trouble, and he's down at the 40-yard line. Zach Thomas. 3rd sack for Miami.
The Miami defense will come at you, and put pressure on you. They always try to rush at least 5 to 6 people when it's 3rd and long. Zach Thomas is going to run right through the middle, goes right by the center, just a little hand slap right in the face of quarterback Rob Johnson. Never had a chance. Dusty Zuger, the center, has to keep his head up and his hands up.
7-yard loss on the play. Buckley the fair catch signal at the 25. And that's it for the first quarter. End of 1. Buffalo and Miami, no score. Second quarter action coming up when we return to Pro Player Stadium after this message.
We asked the Hartford Wolfpack to try the Norelco reflex action for 21 days. There were signs of resistance.
Get that electric out of my face.
This ain't gonna do nothing on my beard.
But then they began realizing how it adjusted to the contours of their faces for an unexpectedly close, smooth shave without the nicks and cuts of a blade.
Kind of like a Zamboni, eh?
Even their fans noticed they were changed men.
Look at you, pretty boys. So smooth.
The Norelco reflex action. Put it to the test. If you don't like it, we'll give you your money back. Guaranteed.
With Transamerica Life Insurance and your estate plan, you can be sure your money will go where you want it to go. The people in the pyramid working for you.
At Transamerica,
One.
we have specially priced life insurance policies for people who still exercise without a trainer.
Two.
Call a Transamerica agent. The people in the pyramid working for you.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci.
What do you mean funny? Funny how?
Ray Liotta. In the network television premiere.
What do you do? I'm in construction.
Goodfellas, CBS tonight. Due to violent content, parental discretion advised.
Three first downs thus far. All of them belong to Buffalo. As we start play in the second quarter. 1st and 10 for Miami from their own 25-yard line. McDuffie in motion. Marino straight back. Pass is dropped. John Holisek was there as McDuffie came over the middle, and we're seeing a trend now with O.J. McDuffie this afternoon.
He needs to hold on to the ball, but Holisek did a tremendous job of wrapping his arms around the wide receiver. It's great coaching and slapping the ball out, grabbing their arms and pushing it down, and that's just great defensive smarts. A lot of times guys will wrap the wide receiver up and let him catch it, but the smart guys will stick their hand in there and try to knock the ball loose.
McDuffie has been the one constant for Marino to work with. It's been the other side where there's been so much unpredictability. Marino wants to put it in the air again. And again cannot make the connection. Stanley Pritchett, the fullback. Miami does not have a first down. Bruce Smith penetrating on the play.
They need to do a better job of protecting Dan Marino. He can't take 3 steps up there, drop, and get hit right in the face. They need to do a better job. Bruce Smith got a good rush on him, but it was Phil Hansen that gave Dan Marino a mouthful of Rydell.
This is not the offense that we saw a week ago at the RCA Dome. Not to say that Miami blew us away offensively, but they did enough to win. That has not been the case so far today offensively, just out of sync. Marino on a 3rd and 10, over the middle. Catch is brought in, but they'll come up shy as Ken Irvin combined with Henry Thomas, getting Ed Perry involved once again, the second tight end.
And this is just one of those confidence builders. Let your quarterback get in sync, drop the ball off, nobody's open deep, your safety valve's a tight end, get a couple of yards, help the team out with field position. You're not going to go for the first down in that situation.
4 possessions, no first downs for the Dolphins offense. Wilmsmeyer again. Kevin Williams, fair catch signal. And he brings it in at the 38. Just a 33-yard punt. Still looking for our first points of the day.
Making friends is our business was a motto that my grandfather created back in the 1950s when he came up with the slogan. Beer is about friendship, about relationships. It's about making friends, going out, meeting new people, and there's not a better beverage to do it with than a Budweiser. There are 500 million beer drinkers in the world, 80 million beer drinkers in the United States, and they must know something.
Introducing a sports sedan that sets a new standard of performance and a touring sedan that sets a new standard of luxury. Here they are. Introducing the new TL with the satellite-linked navigation system from Acura.
We started out a pretty small business, but it sure wasn't small to us. We needed help, financial help. That's just what we got from the people at American Express Small Business Services. We got equipment financing for bigger stoves and faster computers, a line of credit to keep our cash flow flowing, plus the buying power to help our business grow. 1-800-SUCCESS was the best call we ever made. Like my father says, you can do anything you set your mind to, but you can't do it alone. He's right.
If you don't want to be left out of the conversation Monday morning, there's only one place to be tonight. Where? 60 Minutes.
CBS Sports coverage of the world's toughest tennis concludes with a U.S. Open men's final. Defending champion Patrick Rafter taking on fellow countryman from Australia, Mark Philippoussis, immediately following this game. Buffalo with a 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line. Antoine Smith back in the game. He'll get the call, barreling ahead across the 40. And a gain of 3 on 1st down. A host of tacklers in on the play. We saw the ankle injury in the 1st quarter. Smith fortunate to come back. We can't say the same for Sean Wooden, who was injured on the first play of the game. Special teams play as Smith will now take a walk to the sidelines. We've just received word that Sean Wooden, the starting strong safety for Miami, a severe knee injury. There appears to be ligament damage. 3 receivers for Buffalo on a 2nd and 7. Thurman Thomas gets the carry. Thomas to the 45-yard line. Gain of 3. Zach Thomas the tackle.
There's a little flash of the Thurman Thomas of old, the way that he used to hit that hole off the left side of the offensive line. But the team speed of Miami defense has really caught up to Thurman Thomas. I think over the years, he's been a tremendous back for the Buffalo Bills, but this defense has changed. It's not a defense he's used to seeing against the Miami Dolphins. There's so much speed, strength, and youth on this defense, you're not going to outrun anyone.
Dolphins in a nickel situation. 3rd downs have been a problem for both squads. Johnson. Quick throw, and it's incomplete. Sam Madison on the coverage. Andre Reed, the intended receiver.
And it's just being aggressive at the line of scrimmage. That's what Miami's changed. Right there in the press, get your hands on the wide receiver. Make sure he's not going to run the route that he wants to. And Sam Madison, what a good right jab to stand up the wide receiver, Eric Moles. All of his timing was thrown off.
Moles was the target. In some heavy traffic, he could not hold on. 4th down, 5th punt for Buffalo. Moore. O.J. McDuffie, the fair catch signal. At the 19-yard line. And a flag down. Man, this has been sloppy.
This has been one of those games where no one can get in sync. Miami's been 3 and out for their 4 possessions. Penalty marred on both sides of the line of scrimmage. They need to get it together and pull this out. Holding. You know, it's just concentration, Ian. It's a situation where you've got to sustain a drive to get something going, and neither one of these teams have been able to do that. And you know, I really think John Avery should be a key to this Miami offense. Look for him to get in the game.
Holding on the return team during the kick, number 29. 10 yards, 1st down.
When you need a spark, that's the reason why they drafted John Avery, and he should get in the game soon.
Penalty on Sam Madison. And a break in the action. Still no score. We are early in the 2nd quarter.
Introducing a sports sedan that sets a new standard of performance and a touring sedan that sets a new standard of luxury. Here they are. Introducing the new TL with the satellite-linked navigation system from Acura.
6 yards of hunter green, 2 yards of gold, stick pins, heavy-duty thread, and some of those iron-on transfers.
Hey there, this is your Colonel talking. Now I got something here that's downright fun. My new popcorn chicken. Crunchy morsels of tender white meat. It's mouth-popping good. Woo, look at them go. Hurry down to KFC, try my new popcorn chicken for $1.99. It's more fun than watching me, unless of course Colonel get funky. Go Colonel, go Colonel. At KFC, we do chicken right, and not just in a bucket neither.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Acura. Nike, and by KFC.
A hot one in South Florida, 85 degrees here at Pro Players Stadium. Last week it was all about balance for Miami's offense. That has not been the story here. We'll get into that in a moment. Marino on the handoff. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar gets across the 10-yard line, ahead to the 13-yard line. Last week it was all about establishing the run. They have not established the run yet today.
Not at all, and they haven't been successful in the pass rushing against Buffalo. Jimmy Johnson's only averaging 2.8 yards per carry while he's the head coach of Miami Dolphins against this Bill defense, and until that run they only had 1 rushing yard. And Kippy Brown, out of the offensive play selection, 12 plays, now it's a 13th play, only 4 runs. He wants more balance. He wants it 50-50.
2 tight ends for Marino on a 2nd and 7. Abdul-Jabbar the lone setback. Play fake. Marino fires and brought in on the sideline. O.J. McDuffie. Ken Irvin the coverage, a 16-yard pickup, and the first down for the Dolphins today.
Incredible. Dan Marino, look at the fake to the back, and Dan Marino running the dash protection, rolling out of the pocket, throwing downfield to O.J. McDuffie. That's a surprise. That's a new wrinkle by offensive coordinator Kippy Brown. You never see Dan Marino run a boot. You never see him run out of the pocket. He is a drop back, pocket passing quarterback, but now with this new offense, hey, you're going to see more wrinkles in this Miami Dolphin offense.
So a 1st and 10, Miami just trying to get something going, a flow offensively. Play action, Marino is sacked. Back at the 22-yard line. The Buffalo Bills getting strong penetration from Bruce Smith and Sean Moran. First sack of the day for Buffalo.
And Bruce Smith just goes by the tight end. He's got Richmond, just throws him to his side, little swim move right into the quarterback, Dan Marino. And look at all the defenders around Dan Marino. Hey, that's not fair. Quarterback takes a snap, goes back a couple of steps. You've got to protect him. You can't let him get hit like that. He's in a defenseless position, but he got hit by not 1 guy, but 3 guys. They need to do a better job up front protecting Danny Marino.
Marino engulfed on the play and a loss of 7. On the give, Abdul-Jabbar moving the feet quickly as he got across the 25-yard line. And up to the 27, Sam Rogers on the stop. A gain of 5 and a 3rd and long for Miami. Just no flow whatsoever, both sides.
Not at all. John Avery's finally in the game, and you know, he's a guy that can be a game breaker. They need to get the ball in his hands. Last week, you look at this, they were running the ball very effectively, more than the pass. They can't get anything going today. They're throwing the ball more than pass. They need to get back to that physical line punishing rushing game they had last week against Indianapolis.
Shotgun formation for Marino as the Bills crowd the line of scrimmage. Marino to the sideline. Troy Drayton. Eddie Perry, the tight end. And Henry Jones, the tackle.
When it's 3rd and long, the Buffalo Bills will not let you have anything deep. They'll let you have all the underneath things that you want. Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator, will let Danny Marino complete these short passes because they won't get a 1st down. And particularly if you're going to the tight end. If you need 13, 15, 18 yards, it's got to go to a wide receiver, not a tight end.
Well, short of the 1st down, it's Wilms-Meyer again. We've gotten used to saying this. Wilms-Meyer to Williams. Bobbles it for a moment. Sidesteps a tackler. But he's brought down at the 31. Back and forth we go. Punt, punt, punt. No score in Miami.
Introducing a sports sedan that sets a new standard of performance and a touring sedan that sets a new standard of luxury. Here they are. Introducing the new TL with the satellite-linked navigation system from Acura.
Are you concerned about losing more hair? Do you wonder how much further it will go? Do you wish you could do something about it? Well, now there's a pill for men with certain types of hair loss. Introducing Propecia. In clinical studies, the vast majority of men, 83%, maintain their current hair count, and most, 66%, regrew some hair. Take it daily and you could see results in as little as 3 months. Propecia is for men only. A small number of men experience certain sexual side effects. Each occurred in less than 2% of men. Women who are or may potentially be pregnant must not use it or handle broken tablets because of the risk of a specific kind of birth defect. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist and read the consumer information they can provide. Propecia, helping make hair loss history.
This is the Midas Gold Muffler. It comes with a Midas lifetime warranty, and it's now just $49.95, $69.95 for select imports. Let's review. Midas Gold Muffler, lifetime warranty, $49.95. Hurry, the price of gold has never been lower.
Pro football is a game of unabashed joy.
It's heavenly. It's wonderful.
We remain scoreless in the second quarter. Coming up on the NASDAQ Halftime Report, Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights, plus a preview of the U.S. Open men's final between Patrick Rafter and Mark Philippoussis. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ Halftime Report. Bills players just trying to stay cool. Steamy day in Miami as Rob Johnson makes the connection to Andre Reed, short of the first down marker. Buffalo trying to get something going offensively. Brock Marion and Derek Rogers riding him out of bounds. A gain of 9.
And the Heat's starting to catch the Buffalo Bills. They've got the miss machines going on the sidelines, and everybody's huddling around those things trying to get cool. The Miami sidelines, these guys, all they have is fans over there. It's not bothering them. This will take effect not only psychologically, but physically in the second half. And the Dolphins think in the back of their minds that they will wear down the Buffalo Bills, particularly in the trenches, in the second half.
One of those numbers that just stand out at you. 5 first downs in the game, 6 penalties. Antoine Smith, he's got enough for the first down. Smith trying the left side of that line.
And that's a call we haven't heard much this afternoon. First down.
Yeah.
I've been in some games like this. Both teams are lethargic out there. They're not doing a great job on either side of the ball. And what you need is someone to take the bull by the horns and come up with a big play. You got to count on somebody to do that. And the coaches on the sidelines are going to tell these guys, don't count on anybody else. Count on yourself. You make the big play to rally the team.
We saw one big play from Miami, a 40-yard run by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but it was called back because of holding on Ed Perry. First and 10 Buffalo at their own 44. Play fake. Johnson stepping up over the middle, and it's a first down throw into Miami territory. Eric Moulds. 19-yard gain for the Bills.
What the Miami Dolphins do on the outside, they pressure, they're tough on the line of scrimmage, but if you can get by him with a quick move like Eric Moulds right there, make a play, you've got two steps on the defender, it's tough for him to catch up at that point. But if you're caught at the line of scrimmage, you can't get off, but Eric Moulds did a great job. One quick move, boom, he was gone.
Uncharted territory. Bills are in Miami territory. Handoff going up the middle. There's just not much room to run for Antoine Smith. Derek Rogers wrapping him up.
The Miami Dolphins brought everybody on that last play. Look at the safeties. Look at the linebackers running through. Not enough blockers to block all the defenders running through the line of scrimmage and that speed. Look at how they converge on that running back, that Miami speed, but they'll challenge it. They'll challenge you at the cornerback position on the outside. They'll challenge you on the inside with blitzing the linebackers and the safeties.
Calvin Jackson did a good job stepping in for Sean Wooden, getting into the backfield on that play. No gain. Johnson pitch out. Smith off the cut. Forced out of bounds, chased out by Brock Marion. They may have lost a yard.
I've talked about it before, that team speed, plus the intelligence of Brock Marion reading that play from the start. As soon as the quarterback, Rob Johnson, turned to pitch that ball, he was on the outside reading that play. And watch the speed as it catches up. You can't go east and west on this Miami Dolphin defense. There's too many defenders out there. Good job by Brock Marion reading that play.
And this Buffalo offensive line still has a long way to go.
They're not the same line that they had in the playoffs and Super Bowl years ago. There's not a player on that line that was with the Buffalo Bills through their Super Bowl run.
3 receivers for Johnson on a 3rd and 14. Johnson has time, fires right at the first down marker. Eric Moulds making the catch. Brock Marion in on the coverage. It's going to be very close, but looks like a little bit short.
Nice protection up front by the offensive line, allowing Rob Johnson to stand up in the quarterback. They only rush 3 in the middle, and they should keep him out of there. He should have time. He can slide to the side, and he can throw that ball where it needs to. Puts a lot of mustard on it. But Eric Moulds, here's the guy that they wanted to pick it up. Great move by Moulds on the outside, concentrating on the ball, makes the reception. Close to the first down, but it's a little short.
Bills will take a chance. But a timeout call. Buffalo thinking about what they'll do on this 4th and short. No score. Bills and Dolphins. Back after this.
Who will be MVP? Many factors will determine the outcome in the Snickers Shock Zone game. Some bent the rules. Others lost their concentration. And then there was the infamous Siragusa straw incident. Collect Snickers wrappers and watch TV September 20th. If you've got the Shock Zone MVP, you've got $2 million. Who will it be? Whoever's left standing.
55. What'll it be?
We'll take some rice and
get some farf too.
Yeah.
Now you can choose which teams you see every Sunday with DirecTV and NFL Sunday Ticket. There's up to 13 regular season games a week.
Price check on farf.
Hey, Brett. Hey, John.
So stock up on all your favorites. NFL Sunday Ticket. It's not on cable. See it on DirecTV. So what are you looking at?
Attention shoppers. Now get $200 worth of programming when you get DirecTV.
The new season of Raymond is almost here.
You have to do something.
Well, I didn't prepare anything, but how about this? Ben,
what makes Brian Ben so irresistible?
I don't date at work.
Good, because the dance floor is full of furniture.
He's intuitive.
Did you have any signs before you divorced?
Well, there's that one incident when she got up on the table and started yelling, I want a divorce, I want a divorce.
He's sensual.
I was your girlfriend. I'd have mind-blowing sex until you forgot about everything.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
The Brian Ben Show. Catch the series premiere after Raymond, CBS Monday, September 21st.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Gateway and by DirecTV.
Crowd getting involved on a 4th and 1. Jimmy Johnson urging these fans on. Buffalo will go for it. Couple of tight ends. Johnson looking off to the sideline. 4th and 1. He has to get to the 27. Reamersma in motion. Johnson wants to throw it. On the rollout. Johnson looking. End zone. Brought in. Touchdown. Eric Moulds. What chemistry those two have had so far today. And Buffalo strikes first.
And this is a new era for Buffalo. Quarterback Rob Johnson to wide receiver Eric Moulds. It's always been Jim Kelly to Ande Reed. Watch Rob Johnson when he rolls. Good fake to running back Antoine Smith. He gets a cut block on the defender, but Rob Johnson's going to roll out, bide his time, throws the ball where only the wide receiver can get it. Eric Moulds over the top of the defender, Terrell Buckley. It's concentration by the defender. He should stay on his man when the quarterback breaks the pocket.
Steve Christie on for the extra point. And he connects on his 70th consecutive. 7-0. Buffalo takes the lead. Rob Johnson to Eric Moulds. For so many years in Buffalo, it was Kelly to Reed. Maybe a new combination for Bills fans to get used to.
And watch the concentration on Eric Rhodes, all the way stretched out for that ball. This was the biggest fear of Jimmy Johnson when we talked to him yesterday, of Rob Johnson rolling out of the pocket and those wide receivers running free, innovating plays out there, just finding an opening, and that's exactly what happened on that last play.
Rob Johnson's first touchdown pass as a member of the Buffalo Bills.
And there's Joe Pendry right there talking to Rob Johnson, the offensive coordinator. He's down on the sidelines. Great call by Pendry. That takes a lot of guts. 4th and 1, you don't run the ball, you go for the pass, you don't even go for the first down, you go for the touchdown.
Well, we're talking about a big play, maybe changing the way this game is headed. And that was a big play on a 4th and 1, a touchback as Avery took a knee. On that drive, Rob Johnson 4 for 4. Coming up, the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert will get you caught up to date on all the scores and highlights. Plus, we'll have a preview of the U.S. Open men's final. Patrick Rafter and Mark Philippoussis. It's all coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. John Avery in the game for Miami in the backfield. You see the scoring drive for Buffalo to get on the board first. McDuffie the motion man. Avery cutting it back up the middle and ahead to the 25-yard line, a gain of 5. It was not working with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as we got some heavy-duty traffic and one of our officials getting caught.
I think now John Avery has to be the answer in this situation for the Miami Dolphins. I said it earlier that they need a spark. He's a playmaker, and he is a big game breaker. They need this type of speed in there, and he's the guy that you're going to see more and more when the Dolphins are in situations like this, where they're flat, where they're lethargic, where they need a big play. They're going to put that man in, John Avery.
We have an injured official on the play. Garth D. Felice, the umpire. He got caught up in a crowd as Avery brought it up the middle.
And that's happened to me a few times. When you're in there blocking, bodies are flying around. I've run over a couple of umpires in my career, and it's not on purpose. It's just that there's so many heavy bodies flying around. You got 300-pounders, and they're trying to be in the action, get in the action, and make the correct play. But there's bodies flying around. They got to get out of the way because those players don't care if you're in a striped shirt or not. They're going to block a defender. If you're in the way, they're going to run through you. But those guys are tough. You got to like it. Garth's tough. He's going to hang in there.
He bounced right back up, Mark.
Hey, he's tough. You got to like it.
Smile on his face.
But Jerry Seaman, he's the head of the officials in the NFL. These guys are taught well. They're tough guys. They're in tremendous condition. They do a heck of a job.
On a 2nd and 5, 2 tight ends for Miami. Avery the lone setback. Play fake. Marino goes down at the 15-yard line. Gabe Northern came flying through.
And that's one thing about having John Avery in the backfield. That's the only negative. He's in the backfield. He's a very small running back. It's tough for him to block. On play action right here, he's going to try to block Bruce Smith. Does a pretty good job, but that always frees up someone else when he has to take on a defensive lineman instead of his assignment, which would be a linebacker.
A 9-yard loss on the play. Bruce Smith and this Bills defense gaining momentum as this game wears on. Counting down to the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. Miami facing yet another 3rd down and long. Marino has plenty of time. In some traffic. He got leveled, but this time McDuffie holds on and a first down. 19-yard gain. Henry Jones was there.
I'll tell you what, that was just Dan Marino and O.J. McDuffie being on the same page. He threaded that ball through the big-time needle in between 3 defenders. O.J. McDuffie gets behind the first defender, goes right in the middle. Look at the hit. 3 Buffalo Bill blue jerseys around the wide receiver, O.J. McDuffie, and he still comes down with a first down reception.
You mentioned the Bills looking for one play to spark them. Miami in the same situation offensively. 1st and 10 at the 35. Long count for Marino. On the draw, Avery trying to get to the outside. He'll try the middle of the field and to no avail. Pat Williams gets him in the backfield for a loss on the play.
And that's a lesson to be learned by John Avery. He's a rookie, first-round draft pick of the Miami Dolphins. He's got 4.37 speed, second in the Indianapolis Combine this offseason, but he's got to learn one thing. This is the NFL. It's not college where you can juke a few people and run sideways. You've got to take that ball towards the goal line. And there's so much speed in the NFL. Once you make that second move, the defenders will converge on you, and he took a loss on the last play.
Avery, a star at Mississippi, you're right. It may have worked at the collegiate level, not here. Second and 12. Marino underneath the coverage for a modest gain to get some of the yardage back. Ed Perry, another reception. He's been a big part of this Miami offense so far.
What surprises me thus far is we talked about Oronde Gadsden. He hasn't thrown one in his direction the entire day. Jimmy Johnson says he's a big play receiver. We've got to have him in there. Last week versus the Indianapolis Colts, 4 plays, 1 touchdown reception for 44 yards. They need to give him the ball. Danny's got to feel that he's confident in him to throw the ball there, but at least he's got to give him an opportunity.
And we hit the 2-minute warning. Dolphins will face a 3rd and 10. When we come back, 7-0. Buffalo leading it. 2 minutes to play. First half from South Florida.
My dad always said,
as soon as I get a computer, you'll come out with something better.
So to make sure people like Dad have the latest computer, we invented YourWare, technology that grows with you. For just $49.95 a month, you can buy a computer with an Intel Celeron processor, internet access, and in 2 years, you can trade it in toward the purchase of a new one.
What do you call this thing?
YourWare. Call 1-800-GATEWAY, and let's talk about YourWare.
Introducing a sports sedan that sets a new standard of performance and a touring sedan that sets a new standard of luxury. Here they are. Introducing the new TL with the satellite-linked navigation system from Acura.
For richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health.
For richer, for poorer, in sickness.
Or for sickness and in health.
In sickness and in health.
For richer, or for poorer.
For richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health.
And in health.
Your health and your financial security. At Aetna, our focus is helping you with what matters most.
After 20 years away, LA's coolest private eye is back.
How are the Rams doing?
They're in St. Louis.
A road game, huh?
Buddy Farrell premieres CBS Friday, September 25th.
2-minute warning with Buffalo in front, 7-0. CBS Sports Line keeps you on top of all of the action, from in-depth team reports to player profiles and sortable stats. Get 24-hour NFL coverage on cbs.sportsline.com.
I'm not a big computer guy, but I can get on CBS Sports Line easy.
So that's where you're getting all your information.
That's where I get all my information.
We get the inside story that we've been looking for. A 3rd and 10 for Miami. With 2 minutes to play first half, 1 of 6 on 3rd down conversions. It's been that kind of day. Marino stepping up. He gets hammered after the throw. Pass is brought in for a first down by Lamar Thomas as he crosses midfield. 18-yard pickup.
It's a comeback route by Lamar Thomas, but Danny Marino got tattooed at the end of the play again. Watch Lamar Thomas. He's at the bottom of the screen. It's a nice little comeback. Watch him. Right there. Boom. Comes back for the ball. It's right there where he can catch it, and then he leans forward and gets the first down. Danny Marino was paying the price today. 2 sacks, but he's taken about 12 hits, and it's all in the first half.
And the first time Miami has been into Buffalo territory. Marino on a 1st and 10 wants to put it in the air. Loops one ahead and does make the connection. Spinning out of bounds, Oronde Gadsden. First down, Miami, a 21-yard pickup.
That's our man, Oronde Gadsden, but Danny Marino looks him off. He's a 2nd or 3rd look. Danny's looking to the right. He doesn't even see Gadsden, but then comes back and looks to the left. But Gadsden, look at the strength, goes by the first defender, sits right in the hole. He's waiting. Dan, here I am, here I am. There's the ball, catches the ball. He's a playmaker. Jimmy Johnson says all he does is make plays. Here's another look. Look at Marino. He's looking to his right. Okay, I'll throw it to Gadsden. He's over here to the left. He's got to feel confident in throwing it to Gadsden. Dan Marino has to believe in these wide receivers. He's had O.J. McDuffie, but he's never had a second fiddle to him. He may have it in Oronde Gadsden.
First start in the NFL for Gadsden. Little toss underneath. O.J. McDuffie. Now Miami trying to get a little tricky here with time trickling away with 1:06 left to play in the first half. A timeout call. A gain of 7 on the play. We're back after this.
I'm not a purple dinosaur. I'm not 64 bits. And I don't play pro ball. What I am is a mentor. Not a psychologist, but I'm a listener. I don't have all the answers. I'm a mentor. I make a difference. This is my reward.
Kids who have mentors are less likely to do drugs. Be a mentor.
Off of the Miami timeout, Dan Marino getting instructions with 1:06 to play in the second quarter. Dolphins finally getting into a rhythm offensively, but they don't have much time to work with.
But it's the first time today that they're able to move the ball and do something on the ground, and particularly in the air. Dan Marino's looking at all of his wide receivers, spreading the ball out. He's been hit the last 8 times he's dropped back to throw a pass, but hey, he's standing in the pocket tall.
Marino works out of the shotgun on a 2nd and 3. Marino over the middle on a cross. Lamar Thomas, touchdown, Dolphins. An 18-yard scoring strike. Marino to Thomas.
But the offense is working on all cylinders. It starts off with great protection up front by the offensive line. Danny Marino was not hit or harassed on the play. Lamar Thomas just runs a crossing pattern across the field. He'll make a move right there and go to the inside. Nothing spectacular, but Danny Marino hits it. He outruns the defense. There's nobody there to catch up to him. The safeties are deep. Touchdown, Miami Dolphins.
Marino's now in a groove. 9 straight completions. Marion. And the extra point is good. Finally some action. The Dolphins and Bills are tied at 7 with 59 seconds to play in the second quarter. And you can't even say that it's been great defense, Mark. It was just lackluster offense throughout most of the first half of action.
Well, it definitely was, Ian, until that last play and that last series, actually. But, hey, the way that Miami was spreading the ball around, going to Ed Perry, going to O.J. McDuffie, going to Oronde Gadsden, coming back and going to Lamar Thomas, Danny Marino's not set on one wide receiver. At least he's got confidence in those guys now that he's picking the open guy, which is good, instead of concentrating on his go-to guy, O.J. McDuffie.
Just under a minute to play. First half, 9-play drive, taking up 4 minutes and 21 seconds. And as we got down to the nitty-gritty, Miami did not waste any time following the timeout.
Not at all, just the next play. But when you look at this, I've been in those situations where you're driving, even though it's close to 2 minutes, and you want to get the ball in the end zone and you call a timeout and you say, well, why did the coach do that? We lost momentum doing that, but come out, you get recharged, they look for something. Offensive coordinator Kippy Brown saw something in the defense and said, hey, wait, call a timeout. Let's go with this play. It could be successful, and it was.
You just saw Sean Wooden being carted off. He was watching the game from the sidelines with crutches. Wooden suffering a severe knee injury. End over end. And Williams takes the knee. That's Kevin Williams. Bills will have 59 seconds to work with. And another injury. A Dolphin player lying on his back at the 22, Bernie Parmalee.
Grabbing that knee, that's unfortunate for the Dolphins. That's 2 players that are down for the Miami Dolphins. And you know, this is a type of field that I don't like. It's that dirt in the middle, and I played on these fields before. You're running hard on the grass, and then all of a sudden you hit that dirt, and that dirt's a very hard surface, and your cleats give way a little bit. It's almost like walking on ice because you're on those 2-inch, or not 2-inch, but half-inch cleats. All of a sudden you hit that hard surface, and you don't get the traction that you normally get on the grass. So you don't get that feeling that you've got the confidence to step in there and make a cut, and you're trying to block somebody going full speed. So it's difficult to play on this surface, and that's where you see a lot of guys go down because they can't plant, they can't get a push off, and they get it caught in that grass coming from the dirt, and sometimes in that dirt it loosens up, get a hit, you twist a knee, twist an ankle. It's happened to me before. It's one of those situations where you hate playing on this type of surface.
Miami charged with a timeout because of the injury to Bernie Parmalee. Coming up, the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. Also a preview of the U.S. Open men's final here on CBS. Patrick Rafter, Mark Philippoussis, a couple of Aussies going head-to-head. We'll have it for you following our coverage of the Bills and Dolphins. Parmalee being helped off the field. Dolphins lost Sean Wooden on a special teams play, first play of the game earlier. And now it's Parmalee. In his 7th year at a Ball State, the veteran from Jersey City. Rob Johnson leading this Buffalo attack with 59 seconds to play in the second quarter. On the handoff, barreling up the middle, Thurman Thomas, the veteran. Bills will probably go conservative here after the gain of about 4.5 on first down.
I don't think you can argue with that play. You've got a young quarterback in there. Hey, let's run it out. Go regroup at halftime. It's tied up. We didn't get hurt on that last series. They did score, but we're not behind at this point. Let's just get in a groove right here and let our quarterback get a little confidence.
Under 30 seconds left, first half. Johnson throws, and it's broken up at the last moment by Sam Madison. So a 3rd and 5 coming up for Buffalo.
And I think this is a dangerous call right here of throwing out of the dirt, but Sam Madison read the play perfectly right there, reaches in, great technique, great concentration on the ball. Hey, that's just coaching, and that's being a great athlete and studying films. As soon as that wide receiver makes his break or makes that stop, go over and get the ball and knock it away.
Quinn Early was the target, and it stops the clock with 25 seconds to play. First half. Johnson. Rob Johnson running with the football. Gets out of bounds at the first down marker. Jason Taylor in on the chase. And it's a first down for Buffalo with 18 seconds to play in the second.
And that's what the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins, George Hill, feared the most, was Rob Johnson breaking contain. He's the Mark Brunell prototype. He'll roll out of the pocket, got a great arm, will throw deep, but he's got enough speed to get first downs, and it's tough for defenders because the defensive backs have their back to the quarterback.
For anyone that thought that Doug Flutie would get in today if Johnson was ineffective, wrong. Johnson was taken out of last week's game solely because of the injury. Johnson airing it out long, and it's incomplete. Rob Johnson looking for Quinn Early, and it came right off his chest.
Nice protection by the offensive line. Here's Early on the outside. Just one quick move right down the sidelines. The ball is thrown behind him, but this is a catchable ball. Right there, that's a catchable ball. Hits him right in the shoulder pads.
We thought they may go conservative, but they were trying to get into field goal range with time winding down here in the first half. Only 12 seconds left. Johnson will work out of the shotgun. Johnson forced to the ground, and in that dirt area, Trace Armstrong. He's been doing it for so long. Tack on another sack. That's number 4 for the Miami defense today.
It's a difficult time for the offensive line. I've been in this situation for a million times where the defense knows there's no way you run it. You're going to throw the ball, so they pin their ears back, and they're going for the quarterback.
That's the end of the first half with the score tied at 7. Coming up, it'll be the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim Nantz, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, and George Seifert will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. That's coming up. You're watching the NFL on CBS. 7-7, Bills and Dolphins all knotted up. Strange first half with Buffalo and Miami both struggling to get something going offensively. Finally, Buffalo gets on the board with a touchdown pass, Johnson to Mold, but the Dolphins come right back and get 7 of their own.
And they did it in the air. And when we talked to head coach Wade Phillips yesterday, we said, hey, you did a great job of stopping the run. What do you see for tomorrow? He said, well, tomorrow I really don't want to stop the run that quickly because I'm afraid of Dan Marino's passing.
The NASDAQ Halftime Report is coming up after a word from your local station. This is the NFL on CBS.
This fall, martial arts superstar Sammo Hung has no gun, no stuntman, no equal. What Sammo does for real is
unbelievable.
Yeah, baby.
You're so unbelievable.
You got to see it to believe it. Martial Law premieres CBS Saturday, September 26th.
For great NFL action, the address is CBS.
I feel a presence. Harold, is that you?
Some people choose Damon's Clubhouse for our award-winning barbecued ribs. Others like our steaks, chicken, seafood, prime rib, and of course, Damon's famous onion loaf. But everyone agrees, when it comes to hard-hitting, action-packed sports entertainment, Damon's Clubhouse is the next best thing to being there.
Damon's, the official restaurant of NFL Sunday Ticket. Stop by for the best barbecued ribs and a whole lot more. Check out our locations at www.damons.com.
Silence of the Lambs. 7. Get ready to be thrilled again. Fallen on direct ticket. A police detective.
Put the gun down!
A serial killer with limitless power.
What goes around really goes around.
An unseen evil.
I'm a detective. My work is based upon evidence.
That brings these two together.
They can only survive in the bodies of others.
In the ultimate battle of good and evil. Academy Award winner Denzel Washington. John Goodman. Fallen on direct ticket. Only on DirecTV.
CBS Sports presentation of the NASDAQ Halftime Report is sponsored by the NASDAQ Stock Market.
All right, it's time for the NASDAQ Halftime Report. Jim Nance with you from our NFL Today studios in New York, along with the gang here, Marcus, Brent, and the coach. Let's run down the scores. We have 10 games taking place in the 1 o'clock window. First up, the Chiefs. Well, they've managed almost 200 yards of offense in the first half, but only 2 field goals so far, Marcus.
Right, coaches were scared of big plays. Reggie Barlow returned a punt, 85 yards for a touchdown. No reason. This is no secret why they're 15-2 at home.
It's the first punt return for a touchdown in Jacksonville franchise history. Barlow overall, 3 returns, 134 yards. He's been the big story in the first half for the Jags. And they also had a Jimmy Smith touchdown catch. 14-6, Jacksonville at halftime. Meanwhile, at Vanderbilt Stadium, first ever regular season game at Vandy Stadium, and the Oilers lead on a Wycheck touchdown catch. And there's Crazy George. Let's go to our Crazy George here to walk us through this one with Ryan Leaf.
Well, here Ryan Leaf comes up with a big play. The key here as far as San Diego, they've been in the red zone 2 times now and have only been able to come up with field goals. And then we get a situation where the ball's moved down the field by Tennessee, and they score a touchdown with McNair throwing the ball to Wycheck.
All right, so far Leaf 7 of 12, 95 yards, but the McNair touchdown has the Oilers ahead. Cincinnati at Detroit, this has been a wild one. They've reached halftime now at the Pontiac Silverdome, and Marcus, well, Barry Sanders has some good numbers, 52 yards and a touchdown, but what about Neil O'Donnell for the Bengals?
Big story, Neil O'Donnell under pressure, still throwing the ball to Donnie Scott. The change of scenery's done him good.
They've hooked up twice. They had also a 70-yard touchdown hookup, O'Donnell and Scott. But there's Sanders tying the game at 14. Meanwhile, the Bears playing at the Steelers. A missed extra point by the Bears, but they've kicked the field goal now to take the lead. Bettis having a big day, just as Brent Jones predicted on the NFL Today. Buffalo and Miami all square at 7. Marino with a touchdown pass to Lamar Thomas to tie it. Rob Johnson connected on a 4th down play for their touchdown. Baltimore and the Jets, there was a punt return in this game also. The Ravens getting one, and the Jets now trailing by 7. They had a Keyshawn Johnson touchdown catch from 4 yards out, and Curtis Martin was stopped on 4 plays from the 3. Tampa Bay and Green Bay, and the Packers lead by 16. Minnesota at St. Louis, their first meeting in 5 years, and the Rams are down 2 touchdowns. Carolina playing down there against Danny Warfel and the Saints. Warfel, 3rd play of the game, he threw a touchdown in just his third career start. He'd never produced points before. The Eagles over the Falcons down in Atlanta, and Dan Reeves' team trailing by 9. We'll continue in just a moment after this word from your local station.
This fall on CBS, welcome home to the best new comedies on television. Yes! The Brian Benben Show, Maggie Winters, and a new series starring comedian Kevin James.
I love you.
He's the king of his castle.
Your friends are here.
The king of the remote.
Oh, look at this. Picture in picture. In picture.
The king of romance.
Stay in the mood, huh? Hey, it's all coming back.
And the king of queens. One of the new CBS comedies premiering Monday, September 21st.
Hey, mind if I play? Right, let's go. Hey, dude, there's Brett Favre. Come on.
Hey, mind if we play?
Mind if I play? To the left. Pizza! Who ordered the pizza?
Say, man, mind if I play?
Sorry, Dion. Game's full.
Let's go!
Who do you think you are, Mr. Big Stuff? You're never gonna get my love.
Tropical and cosmopolitan. 2 words that best describe Miami and Fort Lauderdale. From the glamour of South Beach to the casual sophistication of Las Olas. From miles of golden sun-kissed beaches to a tropical lifestyle that draws people from around the world. Immerse yourself in Greater Fort Lauderdale and Greater Miami, the proud home of the winning tradition of the Miami Dolphins.
Congratulations to our Staples Coach of the Week, Dennis Erickson of the Seattle Seahawks. Last week, Coach Erickson led his Seahawks to a resounding victory on the road, a 38-0 shutout against the Philadelphia Eagles. We would also like to congratulate the winning school, Vista Middle School in Ferndale, Washington. They'll be receiving $5,000 in school supplies from Staples, the office superstore. CBS Sports presentation of the NASDAQ Halftime Report is sponsored by the NASDAQ Stock Market.
And welcome back to our New York studio, the NASDAQ Halftime Report. The men's finals in the United States Open features Patrick Rafter battling Mark Philippoussis for the title. And for more on that matchup, here's Andrea Joyce.
Last night, Patrick Rafter left the USTA National Tennis Center after a grueling 5-set victory over Pete Sampras. Rafter took advantage as Sampras struggled with a leg injury. With the victory, Rafter is just 1 match away from defending his title.
2-6, 6-4, 6-3.
Numerous hours earlier, his countryman Mark Philippoussis completed a less taxing victory over Carlos Moya and will seemingly be more rested today.
I feel confident at the moment. I'm playing some good tennis and I haven't come all this way to hopefully lose in the final.
This is the first all-Australian final at the U.S. Open since 1970. The defending champ will face an opponent who can serve over 140 miles per hour. Expect plenty of fireworks and emotion inside Arthur Ashe Stadium. That's Rafter against Philippoussis for the U.S. Open title later today after football.
Thank you, Andrea. Rafter Philippoussis. George, break it down for me.
Philippoussis has quite a backhand, actually.
That's all you know, isn't it?
Well, I heard somebody say that.
Straighten him out, will you?
I'm taking Rafter, but I just want to be able to say this. Philippoussis. Marcus?
I'm taking Philippoussis because he's a serve and volley guy. Rafter's great, but he's at the baseline, you know? He's a baseline guy. I go with guys who are aggressive at the net.
I'm taking Rafter in 4. Say it one more time on national television.
Philippoussis.
Good job. The NFL on CBS continues in just a moment.
The address is CBS. Welcome home.
If it takes forever, I will wait for you. For 1,000 summers, I will wait for you.
There's certain things you just can't live without.
Okay. I'm back.
A good receiver is one of them. Visa's the other.
Sure. Yeah.
Don't tell the guys about the flowers.
Official card of the NFL and everywhere you want to be.
Kids with juvenile diabetes deserve more to look forward to than incurable disease that kills one of us every 3 minutes. Insulin is no cure. Research funded by the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation is closer than ever. Please help. I promise you, someone is looking forward to your call.
Got a game on field advantage.
Time in Miami, the Dolphins and the Bills all tied up at 7 apiece. And it was a rather nondescript first half of action. Ian Eagle along with Mark May. How would you describe it? Because I can't say that the defense really stood out on both sides. The offense just really didn't have any flow to it.
Well, they were very lethargic on both sides of the ball. No emotion out there. They were waiting for someone else to make a play, someone to take the bull by the horns. And for Miami, they always think it's going to be Dan Marino. Well, somebody else has to step up. Either Buffalo running back is Thurman Thomas or Antoine Smith, or Miami, they can't count on Dan Marino. It's got to be a running back like John Avery.
We talked about heading into this game how Miami needs to continue to establish the run, stick with the game plan. Haven't seen that today.
Not at all. Only 9 rushes and 17 passes. The offensive coordinator, Kippy Brown, wanted to keep balance. They don't have it today. They've got to dominate on the line of scrimmage as they did last week against the Indianapolis Colts. The Buffalo Bills defensive line is stalemating the offensive line of the Miami Dolphins.
Well, we were looking for some play, and it was the Buffalo Bills that finally came up with the play. Rob Johnson getting the ball to Eric Moulds for the first score of the game. Buffalo kicking off. Miami awaits. John Avery, the deep man, from his own 3. Avery has a lane. Avery on his feet and tripped up as he got across the 40-yard line.
And as we just talked about in halftime, they need someone to give them a spark, give them a big play, and John Avery's the guy, and he follows his wedge blocking perfectly. Mike Westhoff, the special teams coach for the Miami Dolphins, says all he wants you to do is just follow the blocking. He's a rookie. Don't make mistakes. First, catch the ball. Second, take it where you're supposed to go and give us a spark and a big play. That's what they did on the first return, put him in great field position.
A 41-yard return for Avery. Ray Jackson making the tackle on special teams. Miami with a 1st and 10 at their own 43. First play from scrimmage in the 3rd quarter. Marino on a handoff. It's Abdul-Jabbar. Short gain on 1st down. A look at the halftime stats. Rushing, 54 yards for Buffalo, only 12 for Miami. Dolphins doing it through the air. The one thing we didn't see, a turnover.
And that's what really stands out. You just talk about the rushing yards for the Miami Dolphins. You've got to average 3 or 4 yards a crack in there, at least give your team offensively an opportunity. Plus, you've got to hold on to the ball and take time off the clock and move the ball for field position. The Dolphins only did it one sustained drive in the first half.
Injured Bill is on the field. Ken Irvin will come back with more in a moment.
All right, captains, we're going to have a coin toss now. Visiting team, we'll call it in the air. We want a good, clean game. We're all professionals here. Does anyone have change for $1?
What? Want to get away? Southwest has your ticket to freedom with Southwest Airlines fun fares that begin at $39.
Good night, little buddy. Ooh, almost forgot.
Collect Snickers, Wrappers, and watch TV September 20th. If you've got the Shock Zone MVP, you've got $2 million.
The way some people drive these days sure makes you want to talk to an Allstate agent. He can help you figure out how much protection you really need. Being in good hands is the only place to be.
Here's some hot news from Domino's. The new Domino's Heat Wave. The first bag that works like a portable oven, delivering hotter, tastier pizza to your door and a bigger smile to your face. Now a large with up to 3 toppings is just $9.99.
The final showdown. Mark Philippoussis meets the defending U.S. Open champion, Patrick Rafter. The men's final after football on CBS.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Ken Irvin appears to be okay. May have had his bell rung on that play. He was able to walk off to the sideline, but he's been replaced by Ray Jackson at cornerback as Miami faces a 2nd and 7 from their own 46. Offset eye. Marino. Plenty of time. Throws it out of bounds. Gadsden was the intended receiver in double coverage. 3rd and 7 coming up for the Dolphins.
It was the job by the Buffalo Bill defensive secondary. Dan Marino had a lot of time. The offensive line and gave him a tremendous amount of time to throw the ball. He looked at his first receiver covered, second receiver covered, had to go all the way to his third receiver on the left side and just basically threw the ball away. No one was open.
His first incomplete pass in 10 attempts. He had gone 9 for his last 9. 3rd and 7. Shotgun formation. Marino lobbing it upstairs, but a little too far for Gadsden. And one thing about Oronde Gadsden, Mark, scouts have questioned his speed. What's the difference between raw speed and, let's say, football speed?
Well, let's look at him in this defender. He's got great football speed. Sometimes you get a guy on the clock. Look at him right there. Pushes off and runs by the defender. You get a guy, when you put a stopwatch on him, he's a 4.7. You put him in football pads, he's a 4.5. He's a football player on the field.
Wilmsmeyer on for his 6th punt of the afternoon. Williams is deep, takes a roll into the end zone and a touchback. Bills will have their first opportunity on offense in the second half when we come back. All tied up.
Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Da, da, da.
The German-engineered Volkswagen Golf. It fits your life, or your complete lack thereof. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
Okay, it's my big debut. Here we go. Wise, wise, wise. Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Good.
Wise. Did he forget his line or what? Is this the regular one or is he the understudy? Is this? Yeah, thank you. Hey, you gotta wait for me. Let's hold it, not you. He goes, then I. Wait a second, not you. Hold it. Wise. Why? I can't work in this environment. Cut. Cut.
Ship your package in 2 days with FedEx. And you'll run into 7 different price zones.
Ship your package in 2 days with UPS. And you'll run into 7 different price zones.
Ship your package in 2 to 3 days with Priority Mail. And there's just 1 price zone.
So, what's your priority? Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, Volkswagen, and by Budweiser.
The Miami Dolphins with a record of 1-0 following their win over the Indianapolis Colts last week at the RCA Dome. Buffalo 0-1, a 16-14 loss in San Diego. Neither team able to get anything going via the run. Johnson on a 1st and 10 from the 20. Throws the deep ball. Incomplete. Molds the intended receiver. Sam Madison the coverage. There may have been some contact.
Nice job by quarterback Rob Johnson of reading the defense. Watch him. He'll look right, then he'll plant and throw to the left. He's got one-on-one on the other side of the field. He'll look, plant. I got a guy out there that's got a chance. Let's throw it over there. Eric Molds on the line of scrimmage going by Sam Madison. Now this is just fighting for the football. He's got a step on him, and it looks like he pushes, but no, he's concentrating on the ball. Sam Madison just gets his legs tripped up. No penalty.
Molds with 4 catches, 66 yards on the afternoon. Miami in the dime set. It's a running play, though, to Antoine Smith. And a gain of maybe 1. Tim Bowens there to wrap him up.
Big guy Tim Bowens came in a little heavy after his holdout of his contract, but he's playing tremendous football. He's well over 300 pounds, but the big guy can stop the run.
64 straight starts for Tim Bowens, who signed a new contract, 5-year, $25 million deal.
I always like it when they put that weight up there, Ryan. 315. I'd like to buy one of those scales.
We're going to get into that a little later on. 3rd and 9. Johnson out of the shotgun. He's got some time. Johnson trying to run for the 1st down. He's got it as he got across the 35-yard line. Jerry Wilson was there to bring him down, and a scrum after the play. 15-yard gain and a new set of downs for Buffalo to work with.
Jerry Ostrowski out there protecting his quarterback. Rob Johnson does a great job. This is what the defense fears, a guy that's mobile that can run. Nobody's open. Drop it down and run with it and run for the 1st down. It makes it very difficult on defensive backs when they're covering a wide receiver and their backs are turned, and you get a guy that's got that type of athletic ability at the quarterback position that can run.
Maybe a right-handed Mark Brunell. We threw out that comparison. Johnson said, well, some elements, but I'm my own guy. 1st and 10, play action. Johnson stepping forward. Johnson wants to run again, but this time a short gain. Zach Thomas combined with Robert Jones to make the tackle. Let's call it a gain of 2.
And the only thing that's bad about a young quarterback is when they get running and have success, they should not always go back to the run. If the pass is there, be patient. Throw the pass downfield. Step up and get rid of it. That's one thing Mark Brunell grew upon. He learned it. He had to experience that. Sometimes run up to the line of scrimmage and get rid of the ball, and you'll have a big completion.
Thomas coming off the big week. Really just coming off 2 big years. Rookie year stood out more than the 2nd year. Johnson tripped up at the line of scrimmage. And Antoine Smith had nowhere to go. Just had the feet tangled as Johnson took the snap.
Just seems to be one of those games when one side of the ball gets something going, they get stalemated by just doing something ridiculous. Somebody in motion, somebody moving, somebody offsides, or somebody just tripping over themselves and not getting a good handoff for a clean snap. Here's Rob Johnson, takes a snap, goes back, just gets his feet tangled up in the dirt. Now, we talked about it before. It's not easy going from the grass to the dirt because your shoes are different. They're made for the grass, but they're not made for that hard surface out there in the dirt.
Thurman Thomas has come on for Buffalo on a 3rd and 10 from the 36. Johnson, shotgun. Fires a pass wide open underneath. Quinn Early. 1st down Buffalo at the Miami 40. 24-yard pickup.
That's tremendous patience by quarterback Rob Johnson of staying in the pocket, Ian. He hung in the pocket, he felt the pressure, but he stayed with his receiver. He's looking left, looking right, looks back to the left, he sees him there, feels the pressure, and delivers the ball right on the money.
So Buffalo on the move. With just over 10 minutes to play in the 3rd, Antoine Smith again trying that left side of the line, but the Miami defensive front was not going to let it happen. Tim Bowens along with Jason Taylor, both involved in the stop.
Seems like these teams will abandon the run after one shot. you have to stay with the run. On first down, if you get 1 yard, stay with the run on second down. You'll pick up 4 or 5 yards, but don't go to the pass right away. Put a little pressure on the defense. Believe in the guys up front and keep running the ball. Maintain that mental attitude where you're just going to take it to the defense.
Double tight end as Reimers comes in motion. Johnson stepping forward, but could not make the connection to Eric Moulds. Incomplete. 3rd and 9 coming up.
And that's just concentration. The ball was there. Eric Moulds makes a nice move right there and just runs a little slant right across the front of the defense. The ball is there. That's a catchable ball. You've got to come down with those plays. Rob Johnson's not happy about that because he knows that's a pass that's right on the money that should be caught by the wide receiver. Catchable ball.
We've seen a little bit of everything so far today. The one thing we have not seen, though, the big mistake, the fumble, the interception. 3rd and 9 for Buffalo. From the Miami 39. Flags go down before the Bills could even get the play off. The pocket was crumbling around Rob Johnson.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, left guard, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Reuben Brown not even getting his number mentioned.
He's a household name after this game right there. Reuben Brown, Pro Bowler. You have to stay still. The defense is showing blitz. You know they're showing blitz. You see them coming, just stay where you're supposed to stay. Concentrate on your guy. Let everyone pick up their own guy. You do your job. Let the guys around you do their job.
9th play of the drive. Johnson, the motion man. That's Lonnie Johnson. Rob Johnson taking the snap.
Wow.
He's down. Back in Buffalo territory. Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor, the 5th sack of the day for Miami.
And I'll tell you what, Jason Taylor was off the ball right on the snap count. No doubt about it. As soon as the ball was snapped, watch Jason Taylor right here. As soon as that ball is snapped, boom, he's right off on the snap. He doesn't give John Fina a chance to get a hand on him. He's all the way around him. Sacks quarterback Rob Johnson with the assistance. That's the 2nd sack of the day with the assistance of Zach Thomas.
Moore, the punter. O.J. McDuffie is the deep man. Stepping in for the injured Charles Jordan. It takes a Buffalo bounce, and they'll down it inside the 5. Eric Smedley and Ray Jackson getting there. Miami pinned back deep in their own territory.
Woo! I actually got in.
You broke into personnel.
Yeah, these are salaries of every person in the company.
Look, this senior VP makes about half as much as this senior VP. I bet he doesn't know that.
Sure he does. I just emailed everybody in the company.
What were the skies like when you were young?
There were lots of stars at night. And when it would rain, it would all turn. They were beautiful, the most beautiful skies, as a matter of fact. The sunsets were purple and red and yellow and on fire. The clouds would catch the colors everywhere. That's neat, because I used to look at them all the time when I was little. You don't see that.
Morning, fresh air is calling.
Thank you.
I just love my street. The grass is dewy, the trees are bloomy. This can't be beat. Hello, neighbor. Smiling faces, wonderful places. Smiling faces.
What's up, kids?
Hey, mind if I play?
Great. Find out how you can play youth football in your town. Call 1-800-NFL-SNAP.
Tied at 7 with 9:14 to play in the 3rd quarter. Coming up next Saturday, it's a day-night doubleheader on CBS Sports. NASDAQ College Football. First, a war within the state. Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions tangle with some other team. No.
The Pittsburgh Panthers, the Mighty Panthers.
In primetime, the SEC. Slugfest between Florida and Tennessee. It's all coming up on CBS. Needless to say, Mark May, a proud Pittsburgh alum, working just outside their own end zone. A handoff to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar going up the middle, just trying to create them some space for themselves to work with. Gain of 2.
This is a situation where they have to stay with the run. They can't abandon the run. In the past, when they were behind or if they got stuffed on first or second down, boom, they'd abandon the run. But they said that they would hang their head on the run. Kippy Brown, the offensive coordinator, said that he's going to grind it and grind it. Abdul-Jabbar, 7 rushes, 15 yards. He needs to do better than that, but that offensive line has to open up bigger holes.
They're 18-3 under Jimmy Johnson, where they have 25 or more carries in a game, but that could be a misleading stat. Abdul-Jabbar putting the helmet down right at the first down marker. For an NFL Today report, let's go to Jim Nantz in New York.
Well, Ian, you know, Marcus said in the pregame today on the NFL Today that Barry Sanders was going to do something spectacular. Look at him break free at the line of scrimmage. This was the second play of the second half, and he's gone 67 yards, and the Lions are leading now 21-14 over the Bengals. Let's go back to Ian and Mark down in Miami.
The dynamic running of Barry Sanders. Can't say that we've seen a lot of that here today.
I could have caught him.
Oh, yeah.
With maybe a motorcycle.
Maybe now after losing 175 pounds. Abdul-Jabbar. He's got some room. Taking it to the sideline, hurdling out of bounds. First down Miami, and on cue, following the Barry Sanders highlight, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, a 25-yard burst.
And we talked about this before. They've got to go with the counter. Watch the counter. Watch the splatter box. The back will take this ball, and he'll be off to the races. Watch the right guard and right tackle pull. Look at this splatter block. Boom. Second one. Boom. It frees up a monster hole for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I love the counter play because it gets the defense on their heels, and they don't know what direction that first step the back's going with the ball.
Just like that, Abdul-Jabbar with 9 carries for 49 yards. Average doesn't look too shabby anymore. They'll try it up the middle. Getting ahead to the 45-yard line. Gain of 4. Ted Washington making that play. So maybe Miami getting back into the mindset where they have to run the football. You see the numbers. Last week, they stuck to it. This week, we've seen more passing from Marino.
Well, they're picking up the tempo running the ball, but I think it's the second half. I talked about it earlier. The heat will play a factor in this game with the Buffalo Bills. They had problems last week in San Diego when it was hot and humid. It's hot and humid here in Miami, and they will pound them in the fourth quarter with the run.
The rookie John Avery now the lone setback. Play clock is winding down. Marino, quick toss to O.J. McDuffie. First down Miami. They're moving the football into Buffalo territory.
Well, let's watch O.J. McDuffie. Watch this route. But Danny Marino and O.J. McDuffie, they saw something in this defense. A quick hitter. He's going to slash right through the defenders. There's 3 around him, but he just goes behind the linebacker. No chance for the linebacker to catch him and get in his face. John Holisek, he just went around him with his speed, but those quick hitters, you can't defend them. If you don't get up and press that wide receiver and get a hand on him, he's wide open all day. They're going to keep going to the well.
First and 10 from the Buffalo 40-yard line. Handoff to Avery. Cutting it back. John Avery angling. Still on his feet, and he's down at the 19. 21-yard play on the ground for John Avery. Sam Coward and Gabe Northern collaborating on the tackle.
Talked about Avery. Watch him. He's going to take it to the right. You don't see him here, but he'll cut it back all the way to the left. That's just speed. There's nothing on the right. He's got the big play potential. I said it right there. Look at the cutback. Tremendous vision. There's nothing out there. Now it's a foot race. And right there, he's got to make a move to come back. But he's got so much speed, he makes the defense respect him because of his speed and puts a tremendous burden on the secondary once he breaks by the line of scrimmage.
6 plays this drive, 5 on the ground. Tack on 1 more. Avery eluding 1 tackler, but could not get through the second line of defense as Phil Hansen grabbed a hole. We spoke with John Avery. He had a 16-yard run in his first carry last week against Indianapolis, and then went to the sideline and apologized to Jimmy Johnson.
Well, he took a lot of ribbing from his teammates because he's the fastest guy on the team, and he was in the open field. There's no way, no one's supposed to catch him when it's one-on-one, but he said he tried to make a move, then he thought about it, and then he said, well, I just lowered my shoulder and ran into him where I should have run away from him, and he said, Jimmy Johnson, Coach Johnson, that will never happen again. If I get in the open field, they'll never touch me.
A second 8, Marino to Avery. Knocked down from all different angles. Bruce Smith laying one out on John Avery. And another scrum breaking out following the play. Thomas Smith involved on Buffalo's end.
And Kevin Donnelly involved on the Miami end, and I love Kevin Donnelly. He's going to stick his nose in there and fight every play until the whistle or after the whistle, but he's a smart offensive lineman in my book. He took a page out of my chapter. If you're going to get an extra shot in, get that shot in right by the whistle, turn around and walk away, because the officials always get the second guy.
Dan Marino, that was prior to the snap. This time he'll work out of the shotgun on a 3rd and 7. Marino looking, firing, broken up. Ray Jackson stepping in front. Lamar Thomas wanted to see a flag.
One-on-one coverage on the slant pattern across the middle. Here they are, one-on-one. Just a simple slant across the middle. Hands right there within 5 yards. Get the hands off. Now just cover them. Keep your eye on the ball. Run with them. Right there. That is perfect coverage. You can't ask for anything better than that.
It'll be a 34-yard attempt on 4th down for Orlando Mare. And Miami has its first lead of the day. Dolphins go out in front. 3:29 left in the 3rd.
Detective James Carter loved his job until he got a partner.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Now, the fastest hands in the East
Do it again.
team up with the biggest mouth in the West.
Which one of y'all kicked me?
Jackie Chan.
Bitch boy.
Chris Tucker.
Don't you ever touch a black man's radio, boy.
Rush Hour, rated PG-13. Starts Friday.
South Florida, a true story. A man was out walking one day when he discovered a bag filled with jewelry. When no one claimed it, he ended up with over $1 million. When it comes to retirement, you can depend on luck or you can depend on us, Sun America. Ask about our personal retirement portfolios and don't leave your future to chance. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
This season, Nash Bridges really gets wild.
I don't think he meant to do that.
It's the season premiere of Nash Bridges, CBS Friday, September 25th. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Rush Hour and by Sun America.
A 10-play, 80-yard drive for the Dolphins, taking up 5 minutes and 45 seconds. Orlando Mare converting on the field goal and giving Miami a 10-7 lead. Mare will kick it off. Kevin Williams is deep. This is a short kick, though. Williams will step forward and catch it at the 10. Up the middle, Williams comes up shy of the 30-yard line. Patrick Surtain, the rookie, making the tackle following the 18-yard return. 3:19 to play in the 3rd. Miami up by 3.
Break through to the new world of Mach 3 from Gillette. The first triple blade shaving system. 3 blades specially positioned to shave progressively closer. You take 1 stroke, it takes 3. So you don't have to shave the same area over and over, which means less irritation. 3 blades, fewer strokes, less irritation. Mach 3 from Gillette. heat starts to bite, do you have what it takes to bite back? Gatorade Frost. Is it in you?
Select road. Validating tires.
What kind of road can you drive on with BF Goodrich tires?
Approved. Enjoy.
Any road you choose. BF Goodrich tires. Take control.
The Jag Countdown is on. Buckle up for a new season of TV's fastest growing drama. Jag season premieres CBS Tuesday, September 22nd.
Dolphins with a lead, 10-7, 3:19 mark of the third quarter. Rob Johnson and the Buffalo Bills getting a touchdown on the board late stages of the second quarter. They have not done much else, though. Finally saw the running game get in gear a bit for Miami. Let's see if Buffalo can do the same on this possession. Wade Phillips looking for his first win as head coach of the Buffalo Bills. First and 10 from their own 28-yard line. Johnson short drop, and Johnson is brought down by Robert Jones. Derek Rogers helped out at the end, but it was Jones firing in for the sack. Number 6 on the day for the Miami defense.
Wasn't a chance. Antoine Smith, the running back for Buffalo, had him one-on-one. Jones just basically ran over him. It's the far right here. He's going to go. Smith's going to try to block it, but he's going to make the sack. Great job watching the quarterback. Robert Jones just runs over Smith right there. Antoine Smith has to get his hands and face the rusher head-to-head, not turn his shoulders.
A loss of 5 on the play, a 2nd and 15. Johnson had some time, now trying to avoid the rush, able to move ahead up to the 29-yard line, so avoided the big loss. Trace Armstrong was in on the chase, and Jason Taylor was there to finally bring him down.
That's just great coverage in the secondary. Unbelievable what they can do when they press on the line of scrimmage is to take you out of your routes. But watch the right side. Watch Trace Armstrong. He's never going to give up on this play. The tackle comes out to cut him, no go. He pushes him aside, and look at the determination and hustle. He's not going to give up until he tackles the quarterback, Rob Johnson.
Spread formation for Buffalo. Johnson on a 3rd and 9. He's in trouble again. Trace Armstrong. This Miami crowd getting fired up, and this Dolphin defense getting fired up. Sack number 7 for the Dolphins, 2nd for Armstrong.
That was an ugly series for the Buffalo Bills offense, but a tremendous series for the defense of the Miami Dolphins. Watch right here. Watch the Dolphins going at him like fresh meat, just beating the offensive lineman. He runs into his offensive tackle, but Trace Armstrong, as I said on the last play, just won't give up.
Chris Moore punting to Terrell Buckley. Catches it cleanly at the 32. Buckley taking it to the sideline at the 38. And a flag down on the play. 49-yard punt, a 7-yard return for Buckley. It'll work against Buffalo.
Now, and going back to that last play selection by the Buffalo Bills, here's a team that they wanted to concentrate on the running attack, go to the power running game, and at least take pressure off the quarterback, Rob Johnson, but they come right out and throw the ball.
Holding on the kicking team, number 56. 10 yards, repeat 4th down.
That's Sam Cowart getting caught. Number 56.
Right there, Sam Cowart holds right there at the end and pushes off, and they catch you. You have to have more composure. Here's a situation where the offense had a terrible series. The quarterback, Rob Johnson, sacked twice, flushed out of the pocket for a short gain. Now they come out and they punt the ball away. They get a penalty on that. So this is a team that needs to go forward. They're going backwards, and they're helping the Miami Dolphins with field position.
Now remember, Miami would have had the football at their own 38-yard line. Let's see how much they benefit following this penalty. Moore again will punt it. This time, though, he is 6 yards deep in his own end zone. Buckley waits. Moore angles one towards the sideline. Buckley forced to run a distance. Takes a strange bounce. Buckley handles it plainly. Tries to cut it back. Buckley taking a long route. Didn't see a man coming as he gets brought down at the 35-yard line. Terrell Buckley taking a chance, and it cost him with Gabe Northern coming in to make the tackle.
Keep an eye on Terrell Buckley. Sometimes when you catch the ball, do the simplest thing. Just go forward and fall down. Don't try to make something out of nothing. Right there, he should have stayed where he was going. He would have had better yardage. He tries to make a big play. He goes backwards to come up with a big play, and it doesn't happen. So he costs the team at least 10 yards in that sequence.
Keep in mind, Charles Jordan, normally the punt returner, out with a groin injury. Buckley's done it before, and he's been splitting the duty so far today. O.J. McDuffie has been out there as well. 1st and 10 from the 37. Abdul-Jabbar moving ahead across the 40-yard line and up to the 41. Bruce Smith making the tackle along with Ted Washington. Under a minute left in the third. Miami looking to add to its lead.
Here's a situation where you've got the big guys in there. You want to pound the ball. You don't show them anything fancy. You just line up and say, here we are, come after us.
Second and 5. Abdul-Jabbar caught for a moment as they converge on Abdul-Jabbar in the backfield. Bruce Smith made the initial hit, and then Henry Jones was there to wrap him up for a loss of 4.
Well, they tried to run the counter tray, and penetration, here's Bruce Smith, penetration kills the run. The tight end tries to block him, but with his speed and quickness, he just disrupts the play in the backfield.
That's the final play of the third quarter. Miami leading Buffalo 10-7. We'll return to Pro Player Stadium right after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS this fall.
Breathe and I'll shoot.
Dennis Farina.
What kind of detectives are you?
Private ones.
Is Buddy Farrow.
Hey, hatchet face. Start singing, baby.
Being a private eye can be a deadly game. Holy moly. But the perks are killer.
Well, that's a little thing we do called undercover work.
Dennis Farina is Buddy Farrow. Premieres CBS Friday, September 25th.
Learn the secrets of martial arts star Sammo Hung. Log on to CBS.com.
Welcome back to the MBNA Visa All-Star Game. These cards are amazing, and the fans love them.
Yeah, and who wouldn't? I mean, with stats like no annual fee and a low introductory annual percentage rate. Join the team today by calling 1-800-NFL-9919 and get an officially licensed NFL team duffel bag free after the first use of your new NFL Visa card.
NFL Team Visa cards take you where the action is. Call 1-800-NFL-9919 today to receive your free NFL duffel bag.
It's not easy being Damon's. You know, the place for ribs. Every time we turn around, we're being challenged. Their ribs against ours. But hey, we're always willing to engage in a little friendly competition because all we have to do to come out on top is follow our recipe. So come on, the next time you're in the mood for award-winning ribs, the first and only place to think of is Damon's, the place for ribs.
Check us out on the web for the location nearest you.
He chose to fight live on Showtime instead of on pay-per-view for the heavyweight championship of the world. He chose to risk his title against the #1 contender live on America's #1 boxing network. He's the real deal, Evander Holyfield. Holyfield versus Vaughn Bean for the world heavyweight title. Saturday, September 19th at 10, only on Showtime.
Ian Eagle and Mark May back with you in Miami. 10-7, Dolphins leading it. Start of the fourth quarter. Last week, the Bills ran out of steam in San Diego in that fourth quarter. It's been hot here today. Temperature currently standing at 87 degrees. 3rd and 9 for Miami from the 38. Safety valve bobbled, and Abdul-Jabbar couldn't bring it in. Dolphins face a 4th down.
And I played in games like this, I spent my last 2 years in Phoenix with the Arizona Cardinals. When it was over 100 degrees on the field, they'd have a big thermometer in the corner of the end zone. And when I left the Redskins, the first year when they came to Phoenix, they said, man, it's hot out here. And I said, guys, it's only a state of mind. But it would play on your mind once you got in the 3rd and 4th quarter and you saw the opposition spring into life and you were just down and depressed because of the heat.
We'll see if it has any effect on Buffalo, any discernible effect here in the 4th. Fair catch signal is made. Williams dropped the ball. Kevin Williams dropped the football. Looks like he got it back, though. Off the long 52-yard punt from Wilmsmeyer. Kevin Williams holding tight. Buffalo football when we come back. Start of the 4th quarter. 10-7 Miami.
They created their microprocessor in 1971. And the faster their chips have performed, the faster their company has grown. Today, the Intel design is the brains behind the majority of the world's PCs. By the 21st century, their chip could execute 2 billion instructions in 1 second. Where do you learn about such fast-thinking companies? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
Good night, little buddy. Ooh, almost forgot.
Collect Snickers, wrappers, and watch TV September 20th. If you've got the Shock Zone MVP, you've got $2 million.
Here's some hot news from Domino's. The new Domino's Heat Wave. The first bag that works like a portable oven, delivering hotter, tastier pizza to your door and a bigger smile to your face. Now a large with up to 3 toppings is just $9.99.
Football, the game is a time warp with a young dream of growing up and... Come here and give Mommy a big kiss.
Punt returner Kevin Williams holding on for dear life after dropping the football. Bills, though, will have possession on a 1st and 10 from their own 9-yard line, trailing by 3. Antoine Smith trying to go up the middle. And a crowd of tacklers there to greet him. No gain on the play. CBS Sports coverage of the world's toughest tennis concludes with the U.S. Open men's final. Patrick Rafter, the defending champion, taking out unseeded Mark Philippoussis. It's coming up immediately following this game. Over his last 5 carries, Antoine Smith has totaled -4 yards. Second and long. Johnson fires it and picked off. What a great play by Patrick Surtain, the rookie. Flags go down after the play. Patrick Surtain leaping.
Watch the pressure put on quarterback Rob Johnson right at the end, right there by Trace Armstrong again. But look at the concentration on Surtain, tipping that ball away and concentrating on that ball, bringing it in for the interception. But watch Johnson from the right side. Trace Armstrong's just going to beat the offensive tackle like a dusty rug. Go in, nail him on the side. He's the reason why there's an interception, because he put pressure on the quarterback.
The rookie out of Southern Miss. Penalty was called on Buffalo. He was called down by contact, so no return following the interception.
We have personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the offensive team
Eric Moulds called for the personal foul. And the Miami Dolphins within striking distance.
And that's just a series where a team is coming unraveled at the seams. They're not having success offensively. They make a mistake and throw the interception, and they don't keep their composure after that. And some more yardage is tacked on after the play. This is a situation where Wade Phillips has to take the bull by the horns for this Buffalo football team, get them on the sidelines, calm them down, either that or chew them out to get them refocused to get back in this game.
They spot the football at the 16-yard line. Miami with a 1st and 10. Avery, the lone setback behind Marino. Give it to Avery. Right up the gut. Brought down at the 10, a gain of 6. Kurt Schultz, the free safety, along with Sam Rogers.
Good push by the interior line right here of the Dolphins. Watch these guys. They're getting the bigger push up past the line of scrimmage. Look at the line. Look at, there's a new line of scrimmage created right there. A big hole for running back John Avery to hit. You didn't see that in the first half. The wear and tear of the heat and this Miami humidity has taken its effect on the defensive line of the Buffalo Bills.
6 carries, 32 yards for Avery. Avery looking for room, and he is swallowed at the 10-yard line. No gain on the play. He got to meet Bruce Smith up close.
And Bruce Smith right here is going to come down the line of scrimmage, past the left tackle Richmond Webb, and just fight his way through all of the bodies, keeping his eye on the running back. Look at him. You can't see him. Now you see him. Now you don't. Now you see him again.
Smith making the stop on that play. Huffing and puffing a little bit. Question marks whether or not he would even be in the lineup. He started for the Bills this afternoon. 5 tackles for Smith. And Dan Marino taking a timeout. 12:38 left in the 4th. Miami with a chance to put some more points on the board.
Oh, Peter Lynch. I'm Susie, your stress technician, trainee. Not to worry. Here we go. Wow. Under control.
This reminds me of the stock market.
It can't just shoot up without warning.
Sure can.
And then drop.
25% or more, 4 times since 1970.
So stressful.
You know, Fidelity can help you better prepare for the market's ups and downs.
For the free guide, Investing in Volatile Markets, call 1-800-FIDELITY or visit fidelity.com.
Wow, you're stress-free.
These guys, they work hard to bring you cold Coors beer, but they also care about who drinks it.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Can I see your ID, please?
If you're under 21, do us both a favor. Wait. Until then, work on your smile. At Coors, 21 means 21.
Here at VMI, we were asked to try the new Norelco Advantage for 21 days. There was quiet dissension.
I'm not giving up my blade.
And anxious inquiry.
The heck is this? Goo?
But then we started to realize the lotion actually gave us a closer, smoother shave than we expected, without the nicks and cuts like blades. Our fear diminished. Our hopes arose, and life got a little less hairy.
Come on, babyface, move it!
The new Norelco Advantage. Put it to the test. If you don't like it, they'll give you your money back guaranteed.
A year ago, Patrick Rafter was the U.S. Open champion. Yesterday, he knocked out the #1 player in the world, Pete Sampras. Rafter defends his Open title next on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Fidelity Investments, Coors Light, and by Norelco.
The Miami Dolphins leading the Buffalo Bills 10-7. Dolphins with a 3rd and 4 on the Buffalo 10-yard line. Still a lot of time left. 12:38 to play in the 4th. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is now the setback. 3 receivers for Dan Marino to work with. Marino, quick drop, quick throw. It's incomplete. O.J. McDuffie turning. but those two could not make the connection.
Nice pressure by Buffalo. They were in a solid Dubs defense, which means the guard, center, and the opposite guard, they were all covered and they all rushed. They brought 5. Dan Marino on a short drop. They got their hands up. Hey, that's tough to throw that ball on a short drop and you've got 5 rushers in your face.
Call it a 28-yard field goal for Mare. Trying to extend the lead. It's good. Orlando Mare with his second field goal of the day. It's 13-7 Dolphins in the fourth.
You don't have to make a promise for it to be binding. Sometimes a promise just finds you. No poetic words, no fanfare, no fancy presentation. It's just understood. There's really not much you can do, except your best.
For more than 145 years, people across America have relied on Mass Mutual for life insurance and financial security. Mass Mutual, the blue chip company. We help you keep your promises.
What a buy! Let's get to the airport and bring this beauty back to the gallery.
Exactly. Uh-oh. And we didn't rent from Hertz?
Not exactly.
Look at our painting! And you don't have a covered return center like Hertz!
Not exactly.
Only Hertz has a covered return center to protect you and your belongings all the way to the terminal.
Modern art? Not exactly.
Giving NFL Game Day 99 better graphics and gameplay was easy. The hard part was deciding between all the new end zone celebrations.
Party!
Next. That's nice.
Looking good, Terrell.
No! I ain't this!
Just fine. Less is more.
But hey, when the result's a game this real, it's worth the trouble.
Stop that, please.
Ew.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
PlayStation.
From director Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Ray Liotta in the network television premiere, Goodfellas, CBS tonight.
13-7 Miami in front. One thing we have not seen during the regular season so far from Miami is the onside kick. And you may ask, why would they ever have an onside kick in this situation? Well, you don't know the Miami Dolphins then, because they could stick it in there at any time. Mare, a short kick taken by one of the upmen at the 24-yard line. And then across the 35, Sam Gash. And Buffalo will have strong field position. That was not the onside kick. Well, coming up next Sunday, the NFL on CBS puts on regional doubleheader coverage. Many of you will see the Steelers and the Dolphins. In some areas, it'll be Indianapolis and New York, Tennessee versus New England. And later, Oakland and Denver. Baltimore taking on Jacksonville. Check your local listings. It all gets underway at noon Eastern. Jim Nantz and company with the NFL Today next Sunday on CBS. Double tight end look for Buffalo. A 1st and 10 at the 39. Johnson with a pump fake. Throwing into a crowd and a completion. Andre Reed. Have not called his name much this afternoon. Robert Jones involved in the coverage. And a gain of 5. Just the second catch of the day for future Hall of Famer Andre Reed.
Well, his go-to guy is Eric Moulds on that play. He wanted to go to Eric Moulds, but Sam Madison was pressed on the line of scrimmage and took away the quick slant. Had to go to a second read, and that was wide receiver Andre Reed.
Reed has had so much success against Miami in his career. Thurman Thomas. A blast from the past. Looked like the Thurman Thomas from 1991 as he cut through the middle for the first down. Brock Mary and the free safety forced to make the stop.
But watch the replay here. You're going to watch the backside of the line. They get great cutoff blocks right there. Look at the hole, allowing Thurman Thomas to cut back. And a lot of times you say the onside guys do a great job. Well, the backside guys also do a tremendous job, and they can make the cutback go.
Flags fly on the field before Johnson could get the play off. Looked like Lonnie Johnson.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 84, 5 yards, still first down.
Lonnie Johnson, the left side tight end. Every time Buffalo seems to get something going, some motivation, the offensive line, the tight end, someone jumps off sides, there's a penalty, a sack, the quarterback has to run out of the pocket. They need to continue with the drive and sustain a drive.
3 receivers on a 1st and 15. Handoff, Thomas, stutter step. Brought down at the 42. Now for an NFL Today report. Let's go to Jim Nantz in New York.
Well, Ian, it's been a day defined by punt returns. Rookie free agent David Gibson for the Bengals. Watch him break this one, and you'll see 2 of the most glorious blocks downfield you'll ever see. First, here comes Tremaine Mack. Then Renard Wilson, the rookie first-rounder from Florida State. And with the return, the Bengals lead in the 4th quarter. Let's go back to Miami.
Both of those 2 teams looking for their first win of the season. A 2nd and 8 from the 41. It's Thomas again. Thomas cutting to the outside as a flag goes down. First down Buffalo. We'll see what the call is, though.
It looks like a holding call against Lonnie Johnson, but it's the cutback that's killing the Miami Dolphins. They're overflowing with their team's speed and pursuit, but Lonnie Johnson is going to cost this team a great run by Thurman Thomas.
Wade Phillips waiting.
Holding on the offense, number 84. 10 yards, still 2nd down.
Lonnie Johnson right there. Watch the hold during the run. Gets off late. Has his hands in tight, which is great. Keep him there. But when the defender goes away, now you've got a good fit. Now let go right now. Let go right now. When the guy's falling on the ground, they'll catch you every time.
2nd time that he was called for a penalty in this series. 3 wide receivers on a 2nd and 19. Johnson. Whistle blew. Flags go down. Rob Johnson sacked again. Let's see what the penalty is.
That's motion on the offense. Miami showed the blitz again. The guys up front have to hold on and not move until the ball snapped.
Prior to the snap, full start, offense, number 60. 5 yards, repeat 2nd down.
You talk about a way to kill a drive.
That's just concentration. You're an offensive lineman. You know the snap. You know what play it is. You get to the line of scrimmage. If the defense jumps, who cares? If they jump early, the penalty's on those guys. You've got to hold your composure up there and wait for the snap count.
Jerry Ostrowski. This Miami crowd now getting involved. Bit of confusion. Remersma setting up in the slot. Handoff to Thomas. And Miami was ready for it. Maybe a loss on the play as Zach Thomas anticipated.
And Zach Thomas got the tackle, but Lorenzo Rommel got the penetration on that play. He was in the backfield, pushing the offensive line back, and it didn't give the running back, Thurman Thomas, a chance to get to the line of scrimmage. Zach Thomas, 10 tackles today. He had 13 tackles last week to lead the Miami Dolphins. He's the guy that's the heart and soul of the Miami Dolphin defense.
3rd and 25. Johnson, a shotgun formation. Throws. Leaping attempt by Moles. Incomplete. Jerry Wilson, the coverage.
Take a look at this from the end zone. Rob Johnson gets time. They protect him. He's got a chance to step up in the pocket and throw the ball, but it's thrown behind the receiver. Right there, Eric Moulty has to turn around and come back on the ball. Here's another look. The ball's out there, but he's got to turn completely around to come back for the ball. Poorly thrown pass.
Chris Moore getting a workout, his 8th punt of the day. O.J. McDuffie, fair catch signal. Brings it in at the 19, and with 8:32 to play in the 4th, Miami with the football and with the lead.
We started out a pretty small business, but it sure wasn't small to us. We needed help, financial help. That's just what we got from the people at American Express Small Business Services. We got equipment financing for bigger stoves and faster computers, a line of credit to keep our cash flow flowing, plus the buying power to help our business grow. 1-800-SUCCESS was the best call we ever made. Like my father says, you can do anything you set your mind to, but you can't do it alone. He's right.
At Staples, we're constantly lowering prices to make them as competitive as possible. So you always get the guaranteed low prices on over 7,000 items. And who wouldn't love that?
And that's the last one.
Good news, Willis. We're lowering prices again. Lock up when you're done.
All right!
That kid was a find.
Over 7,000 supplies at guaranteed low prices. Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
When you ship with Priority Mail, it's a great way to save money. But what about other parts of the world? There's Global Priority Mail. And here's the best part. Give us a few days more, and you can save up to 70% over FedEx or UPS. So, what's your global priority? Try Global Priority Mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
This fall, get ready for a different kind of medicine.
Could someone dial 911?
Are you a doctor or something?
Something, yeah.
LA Doctors premieres September 21st.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by American Express and by Domino's.
Despite the fact Buffalo's offense has been anemic, Miami can't afford to make a mistake. They lead by 6. Handoff goes to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Ahead to the 20-yard line, a gain of just 1, maybe 2 on first down.
Tough yards in there between the tackles, but in this area of the field, I'm one of those guys that say, hey, I don't want to run the ball in this area. Throw the ball, throw a little quick hitch pattern, but that dirt that's in the middle of the playing field, it's tough to get traction. Doesn't matter what position you're playing, particularly in the trenches, if you're pushing an immovable object, I don't want to run the ball in there.
Well, now Miami is getting closer in terms of that balance, run and pass. 20 rushes, 25 passes. Marino will put it in the air. Across the middle, bobbled, and it falls down to the turf. O.J. McDuffie has had a tough time holding on to the football. He had some words with John Holisek following the play, but by my estimation, that's 4 balls that McDuffie had a chance to bring in today. He could not.
And that's not O.J. McDuffie. Here's a guy that Danny Marino can count on because he's one guy that's been through this program with Marino for the long haul. But you look at this situation, the ball was a little bit behind him, but it was catchable. When Danny Marino needs a big play, he wants to go to O.J. McDuffie, and you can see the frustration on McDuffie right there. He's fighting a guy that's about 4 inches taller and about 50 pounds heavier than he is.
A 3-receiver look on a 3rd and 8. Marino's got time. Out panic. It's hauled in. Arondé Gadsden. We'll see where they mark it. Ray Jackson was in on the play. First down, Dolphins.
And we talked about it before. Jimmy Johnson said, hey, he makes plays. I asked the assistant coaches last week, Johnson said, to put him in the game more. They didn't do it. That's the reason why he started him today, because you throw the ball to Arondé Gadsden, he makes a play, and that was a great play for a first down.
He is the 7th starter opposite O.J. McDuffie at wide receiver since Jimmy Johnson took over this team. They're looking for consistency. If he can do the job, he might be there for a while. Abdul-Jabbar breaking 1 tackle. He could not break the second one, though, as he comes up short of the line of scrimmage. It'll be a loss on the play.
And I said about the dirt's a factor out there for the running game. Well, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in that play tried to make a cut and slipped when he made the cut. If it's grass all the way through, he makes that cut and he gets to the edge and possibly circles the defense. But with that loose dirt out there, it's tough to run in that area. I would not want to be the offense in this situation when you've got to have a 3rd and short or something for a first down where you have to dig in and move your body because you're not going to get any leverage.
Miami just content using up clock, but they need some first downs. 2nd and 11 from the 29. Abdul-Jabbar with a head of steam. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar getting across the 35. Sam Rogers getting him low. It'll be short of a first down, but not by much.
Good blocking by the offensive line. Watch the left guard right there and the center, Tim Ruddy. They do an outstanding job of staying square. They stay square, and that's great. Keep a push, keep the legs moving, but stay square and give the back a crease. That's just what they did. Mark Dixon, the left guard, and Tim Ruddy, the center, getting a push on the defensive front. Abdul-Jabbar, 15 rushes, 65 yards.
3rd and about 1. Abdul-Jabbar upended at the 40. It didn't matter. He kept his feet moving, and he's got a first down for the Dolphins.
Wow, upended indeed. Kurt Schultz, here it comes right at you. Hits him face-to-face, 10-yard run, had a head of steam, but look at that. Dishes him to the side with a forearm. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was not going to be denied for that first down.
Able to bring the football to the 43-yard line, and the clock continues to move. Dan Marino, one of the masters of managing time in the 4th quarter. Under 5 minutes to play. Using up a lot of that play clock. This time it's Avery. John Avery just did not have room to run as he tried to move the pile, but let's keep in mind John Avery's only 5'9". Marcellus Wiley and Ted Washington combining on the stop.
Well, that's the only drawback to John Avery that I see, Ian, is when he's in a crowd, he's not going to run anybody over. He'll run away from them, but he's not going to run too many guys over. And in between the tackles, that's not his style. Unless he gets a crease, he can stick it and hit it through there. But he's the type of guys, when you get him in the open field, he's very, very dangerous.
It is a nice combination between him and Abdul-Jabbar. Gain of 4. Up the middle it goes, short of a first down. Avery getting the call once again. Gabe Northern there. It'll be 3rd and short coming up as the clock continues to move down to 3:52 and counting left in the 4th. Miami with a 13-7 lead on Buffalo.
Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, there's concern on his face because he knows his guys are tired right now. The heat, the humidity's catching up to these guys. And this drive, 9 plays, 36 yards, they're just chewing up the clock. They're milking the clock. The Miami Dolphin offense is milking the clock against the Buffalo Bills defense.
2 tight ends. Flag goes down. Well short of a first down as Abdul-Jabbar was caught at the line of scrimmage. We'll wait for word on the penalty. Against Buffalo, Bruce Smith.
And that's what
Offside.
happens right there.
Defense, number 78, 5 yards, first down.
When you get a little quiet and you don't concentrate, Bruce thought he saw somebody move, but no one moved. And it's this situation, we talked about it before, the heat, the pounding of the offensive line against this defense. They had problems last week with their conditioning. They're having problems now. When a player gets fatigued, he gets tired not only physically, but mentally. 9th penalty on Buffalo, costing them 65 yards, and this one really hurt. It gives Miami a first down, a 1st and 10 at the Buffalo 44. Abdul-Jabbar squeezing through a hole as he stumbled across the 40. A gain of 4, John Holisek, the middle linebacker, making the tackle. And the Buffalo Bills, they're doing everything right there to try to stop the Miami rush. They're bringing in safeties to blitz. They're twisting with the offensive line. But the offensive line of the Miami Dolphins are picking up their stunts. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is hitting that crease. And it's just power, smash mouth football. That's why they changed their offensive guards from Mark Dixon and Kevin Donnelly this year, brand new for the Miami Dolphins. These guys are smash mouth snot blowers that like to knock people off the line of scrimmage. I'm not quite sure what you said that last word, but that's all. I'll accept it. Going up the middle, Miami again just trying to run out the clock. And they've done a good job of it so far, down to 2:28 to play, and a timeout has been called. Buffalo taking the timeout. They have 2 remaining. Look at the left side right there. Those guys will get a great push, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is able to cut back. Look at the push. Pushing Bruce Smith down the field. He sees the cutback lane because they sustain their blocks on the back side. 3rd down coming up for this Miami offense. Buffalo just wants an opportunity to get the football back, trailing by only 6. Wow.
You compare that to what we saw earlier in the game. Miami has done a very good job of getting the run involved. Marino was throwing a lot in that second quarter, but in the second half, it's been mostly on the ground for the Dolphins offense.
And they're over 100 yards rushing. Last year, they averaged a paltry 83 yards per game. This year, they wanted to average well over 100, 130 and change last week. They're 116 tonight, this afternoon, thus far. This is a team that wanted to run. It was ugly early, but like Kippy Brown told us before when we spoke to Kippy Brown, he said, I'm going to stay patient with the run. I'm going to stick with it and stay with it, and he has.
And Marks, since halftime, 20 rushes, only 8 passes for Miami. Out of the shotgun, this time it's in the air. McDuffie makes the catch, trying to lunge forward. He's short of the first down. He had to get across the 35-yard line, and he didn't get there. Marlo Perry involved in possibly giving Buffalo second life.
Jimmy Johnson's going to go with this. He's going to go for this. This is an opportunity for the Miami Dolphins to really prove that they are a balanced football team, that they can run the ball. In the past, they've been in situations like this because they've been a passing team, where when it was 3rd and short, they wouldn't get a first down or not even attempt it. They'd send the field goal unit in. But now, hey, they're physically, mentally tough, and it's ingrained in their mind now. Hey, we're going to run the football.
Buffalo taking a timeout. They have only 1 remaining. Coming up immediately following our coverage of the Dolphins and Bills, it's the U.S. Open and the men's final. Patrick Rafter, the number 3 seed, defending champion, taking on fellow Aussie Mark Philippoussis. The U.S. Open men's final from Flushing Meadow coming up on CBS. 4th down. About 1.5 yards to go until the first down, if that.
Well, this is a test for the guys up front. Jimmy Johnson's relying on them. He's going for it on 4th down. They've got to come through for not only the offense, but the rest of the entire football team.
In motion, Perry. Abdul-Jabbar going to the outside. He was tripped up, and a flag goes down. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was forced to go towards the sideline. Flag on the play.
And that'll be a holding call. That's going to cost this team. Now they're going to have to go ahead. They're going to have to punt it away. But they did have the first down, and a penalty's going to cost them.
Holding on the offense, number 89. 10 yards. Read 4th down.
It's Ed Perry again. Johnson, the tight end for Buffalo, has gotten caught, and Ed Perry is in the same boat.
Well, the problem is when you're running the ball, the tight ends are at the end of the line of scrimmage, and the officials can see you. If you hook your arm to the outside, if you grab someone, they're the first person that you're going to see. Right here at the end of the play, if your hands are outside the plane, right there, you're going to get caught. It looked good at the end, but his hands must have been outside the plane when he made his initial block.
Wilmsmeyer to punt. It's a high punt. Taking a bounce inside the 5 and into the end zone. 1:53 left in the 4th. Buffalo has to go 80 yards if they are to take the lead.
License Peter Lynch, the Fidelity guy. I could overlook some very tedious paperwork for a hot stock tip.
Buying what's hot without doing your research is not investing. It's gambling.
Oh, really?
Here's a tip. Call Fidelity. They'll help you figure out what's right for you.
For your free investing guide, call 1-800-FIDELITY or visit fidelity.com.
Thanks, Hotshot. Watch your fingers.
What's that?
Domino's Pizza.
I know, but what's that?
It's the new Domino's Heat Wave Bag.
Heat Wave Bag?
It's like a portable oven. It keeps your pizza hotter.
Is the pepperoni hotter? The crust crispier? Is the cheese good and gooier?
It's all that. The new Domino's Heat Wave Bag helps me deliver the best tasting Domino's pizza ever.
Now order any large pizza with up to 3 toppings for just $9.99 and have it delivered oven fresh.
Domino's, delivering a million smiles a day.
Joe in London for Claritin.
In my line of work, you've got to be ready. Ready to hit your mark. That's why my doctor prescribed Claritin Ready tabs for my seasonal allergies. It dissolves on your tongue without water, so you can take it anytime, any place. One tablet means 24-hour non-drowsy relief from seasonal allergies, and it's safe for children as young as 6. There's a low occurrence of side effects, including headache, drowsiness, fatigue, and dry mouth. Action! Talk to your doctor about Claritin Ready tabs. Call 1-800-CLARITIN.
No gun. No stuntman. No equal. Sammo Hung stars in Martial Law. Premieres CBS Saturday, September 26th.
13-7, Miami leading Buffalo with 1:53 to go in the fourth. Buffalo has lost 12 straight games on natural grass. They were hoping to put an end to that streak here this afternoon. They've got 80 yards in front of them. Jimmy Johnson has been urging this crowd on the entire day. The Bills have done little offensively. 4 receivers for Rob Johnson to work with on a 1st and 10 from their own 20. Johnson has protection. Quick pass comes out to Moulds. And a 1st down for Buffalo as he's forced out of bounds at the 32. Clock continues to move with 1:37 and ticking left. 12-yard pickup.
As an offensive lineman, I hated these situations because you know the defensive linemen have one thing and one thing only on their mind, and that's to get the quarterback.
Down to 1:20 left. Buffalo with 1 timeout remaining. Rob Johnson is sacked. Back at the 23-yard line, Lorenzo Bromell, the rookie. Jimmy Johnson has high hopes for this Clemson product. Playing in his first NFL game, 8th sack for the Miami defense.
And they ran a little ET stunt. The end first, Jason Taylor picking the left tackle and the left guard, allowing Lorenzo Bromell to come around the outside and get the sack.
2nd down and 19. Johnson stepping forward under a minute to play. Johnson forced to run it, avoiding one tackler as he moved across the 35-yard line and ahead to the 38. Finally tracked down by Shane Burton, a gain of 13 on the play for Rob Johnson scrambling. Coming up next, the U.S. Open men's final here on CBS. Down to 27 seconds left. Bills have a lot of real estate to make up. Some motion on the right side of that line. As a flag goes down, looked like Jerry Ostrowski, the right tackle.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 60, 5 yards, still 3rd down. We will run 10 seconds off the clock due to the false start. Inside a minute, please reset the clock to 14 seconds. 14 seconds.
Bills are running out of time. Johnson throwing. Complete. Kevin Williams, normally a special teams performer, but in the 4-receiver look. Williams making the catch. Timeout Buffalo with 3 seconds to play.
They're going to have time for one play, and I think we all know it's going to be all the way to the end zone. Situation with Buffalo is this is a team, Ian, they've got to go back to basics. Too many penalties have cost this team. It cost them last week, and it's cost them in this game. And it's just ridiculous penalties, things that are correctable.
Do you bring in a Doug Flutie? The magic he worked here in Miami.
Well, why not? It worked against Jimmy Johnson before,
That's
but Jimmy
right.
was at the University of Miami. But I think they'll stick with Rob Johnson.
Have to go back to November 23rd, 1984. Doug Flutie. One of the most memorable moments in college football. Last second play to Gerard Phelan.
I believe on this play you'll see all the defensive secondary linebackers. Zach Thomas is about 40 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he's still going back.
Should be the final play of the game. 3 seconds left. from their own 45. Johnson looking to air it out. In some trouble. Throws underneath, and that's it. It wasn't pretty. But Miami opens the season 2-0 for the 5th consecutive year. They hold on 13-7, the final, as they beat Buffalo.
Welcome back to NFL Sunday Ticket headquarters. Your game just ended, but other early games are still going on. Start your clicking on NFL Sunday Ticket.
Too slow, you're out of shape. Fast, harder. Why can't you be perfect? The best you got. You do that? Come on, Warren.
This is my shield against the heat.
This is my shield against the other team. The media expectations, the best and myself against the opposition.
He'll never play in the NFL. He's too skinny. He's not like other quarterbacks. He'll never hold up. He'll never start. This is my shield. He's just an athlete against the noise.
The shield means you're for real.